was a little bit worried this morning, Dan, when I got here.
About?
Not going to lie. A little bit worried. There was no breakfast.
I saw that. I came in and I didn't see any trays out there. I didn't see any bagels out there. I've seen in general that the breakfast has gotten a bit flimsier. It's not, the lunch is still strong, but the breakfast has gotten a little weaker. What happened?
So I have some inside information via our ladies at the desk over there that were telling me that the delivery driver came in with the stuff, and then as he was delivering said stuff, it exploded and fell on the ground, and they had to go get more.
Well,
So that's why I was late.
I was worried, but then the breakfast came through in a very big way.
Yes,
you got
mountains.
the good bagels this morning. You got the good cream cheese. You know I don't play around with that whipped cream cheese. I like the block cream cheese. And you got the good bagels.
You like government cream cheese?
I'm in a great mood today, Dan.
Miami doesn't make great bagels, correct? It can be the Miami bagel can be inconsistent.
These are the good ones.
I've heard people from New York come in and complain about our bagels because New York has some bagel snobs, and evidently we don't always make good bagels.
true.
What makes these bagels better than the other bagels?
They're fat. These are fat bagels.
They're allowed to have that. You ever have a New York croqueta?
Yikes.
It ain't the same.
I wasn't saying that they're not allowed to have that.
Right. Like, but there's no shame in not having as good a bagel as New York.
They just come down here and they complain that the bagels aren't.
Well, they complain.
as good.
They complain.
They complain.
Well,
They
that's
complain.
true. That's
You
true.
can put bagels. You put any other thing you want out there.
Yeah,
They complain.
New Yorkers do come down here and just complain
Like, stay up
while
there and
in
complain.
Miami about how Miami's not as good, while New York right at present is shoveling ice off of the driveway all over the Northeast while we have weather unlike any in the United States. We will take a lesser bagel in exchange for having weather better than anywhere in the United States. The entire United States is like Denver today, right?
Yeah.
It's like the second half in Denver yesterday,
Yeah,
except for Miami where it's 78 degrees.
we're the best.
Very foggy, though. I did wake up very foggy this morning. I was like, driving, I was like, whoa.
It was hard to see even 3 feet in front of you, but then when you drove 1 mile, perfect sunshine.
I'm looking at the Weather Channel right now in St. Louis, Missouri. It's 0 degrees.
Suckers.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air. When the chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt. It's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Would you prefer that the Rams and Seahawks just play again? At Le Batard Show. And would you also prefer, because the measurement system is so imperfect in this sport, that the Rams and Seahawks just play best of 3 starting right now to actually determine who's best, as opposed to the slop we did yesterday where 2 fourth down calls go a different way and you've got 2 different teams playing and you don't have a measurement system that actually helps you understand who's the best team. I've got a couple of stats of the day for you guys that are totally crazy, all right? Play the stat of the day music. You guys tell me which of these stats is the best.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day.
So I've got 3 of them for you, okay? Stafford yesterday goes 350 plus, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Second time in 5 weeks he does that and loses. That happened to Brady twice in 23 years. That's one of the stats of the day. There have been 4 times, Zaslow, since 1970 that a quarterback goes for 370 plus, 3 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions against the NFL's number 1 scoring defense. 4 times it's happened that quarterback is lost. Twice it's Stafford in the last 5 weeks. Where it's happened, where he's playing, perfect football. Yesterday he had 13 completions at one point for 260-something yards. And he's losing to Sam Darnold. But here's my favorite of the stats. And when I say favorite, the most haunting is someone who has lived in Miami for the last quarter century. The Patriots have 10 Super Bowl appearances since the Dolphins were last in the playoffs. Last winning a playoff game. The Patriots have 10 Super Bowl appearances since the Dolphins last won a playoff game. That's crazy in a league where you're rewarded for being bad and the salary cap makes things equal.
Well, the Patriots were rewarded for being bad. They somehow built themselves up from losing the best coach of all time, the best quarterback of all time, missing on their initial replacement for the best quarterback of all time, having to rebuild that, and now we're here with Mike Vrabel and Drake May. That's the process working. Just don't know why it never works for Miami.
Lamar Jackson defenses have forced 3 turnovers in 8 playoff games. Drake May's defenses have forced 8 turnovers in 3 playoff games.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily have to be super great to get to a Super Bowl, which is a blessing in year 2 because it's invaluable experience. Now, he was big in big moments against a big-time defense in terrible conditions. So I think a lot of the stats, people are cherry-picking, like this guy didn't have to score more than 17 points to get to the Super Bowl. I think contextually, people understand that Denver game was a little bit more difficult, but yeah, it's a credit to Robert Kraft. I'm sure he's really enjoying this one right now.
And then you look at his advanced stats regarding Drake May, and it's like 17 touchdowns, 0 picks against the blitz, and it's like all these different things that show you he's actually a really good quarterback. The problem is they haven't really played anybody, and like that, there's nothing that the Patriots can do. That's the schedule. You got to play the schedule.
These defenses are awesome that they're beating in the playoffs, and if they wind up winning the Super Bowl, it's like the final boss of defense. You're going to have to give them some credit.
For sure.
I want to, though, talk about a couple of things as it relates to the Patriots. I want you guys to go back to right before the pandemic and whatever it is Bill Belichick thought of himself and how he regarded how integral he was to the Patriots' success. If I go to Bill Belichick, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, okay, and I say to him, here's what's going to happen over the next 7 years, your greatness. There's going to be a 10-part series on Apple where Robert Kraft just destroys how important you were to everything that was happening there. Your quarterback is going to leave and immediately win in Tampa. And here's the kicker. One of your linebackers is going to get to the Super Bowl with your team. You're just a guy you coached that was your linebacker is going to go 9-0 on the road, not lose a road game, and end up in the playoffs. At the end of that game, and I want to talk about that game because I got to think, this isn't a empirical stat, but I got to think that for a championship weekend was the most opposite 2 games could be. Like in the history of games being played for a right to the Super Bowl, New England, at the end of that game, Romo would not shut up about how aggressive the call was to bootleg a running quarterback who's your safest option running the football. Romo would not shut up. I can't believe how aggressive a call that was, while in the next game, Sam Darnold is still throwing with less than 4 minutes left, because that's what real aggressive looks like.
The best part about that is it wasn't even the call. Apparently, Drake May called his own number there and didn't even tell his teammates. There's a quote here from Garrett Bradbury that said, "I hit my block and all the defenders started running the other way." I'm like, what? Oh, my God. After the game, Drake's like, "I debated telling you guys if I was going to keep it or not, but I just decided not to." He did that on his own.
I unironically, because we talked about this last week, right, about Romo and he stinks and how I don't really care about that. Like, it doesn't bother me. I was annoyed with Nance and Romo in the game yesterday because they thought it was so cute and so funny that as viewers, we couldn't see where they were on the field because of the snow. Like, it was a big joke to them. Hey, buddy, it's your job to figure it out and let me know as the viewer. I need to know where they are on the field. They thought it was so funny that no one knows where the football is. Figure it out, man.
I'll tell you something that was funny, though. Like, in a game, like, we all know this is violent real estate acquisition. We all know that both of those games are decided last night by inches. Like, 4th down and inches is deciding both of the games. The part I did find funny is that referee totally making up when the punts went out of bounds where to spot the ball. Like, he was totally, he was having, like, he could have gone anywhere. He could have walked 40 yards and we would have said that's fine. Like, you're talking about these people killing themselves in order to not let someone get 3 yards. And then there's just a slob on the sidelines walking down, strolling down the sideline, giving you 9 extra yards. And you're like, yeah, I guess that's where the ball is. No, I don't really know.
Zaz, you know about that WrestleMania 13?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know about Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Of course.
You know what happened in that match?
Double turn.
Double turn. This playoff championship weekend was the crescendo of a weeks-long double turn in which people decided they actually liked Tom Brady on the broadcast more than Tony Romo.
Yeah. Yes, good call.
I have for you a funny story from yesterday in that regard, because Tom Brady did have a good call.
He might be the best.
Wow.
Tom Brady did have a good call on a play. So on 4th and 1, okay, on 4th and 1, Matthew Stafford breaks Lawrence's tackle and gets an extra half yard to prolong a very tense moment at the end of that game. And Brady, and the key part to that job is enthusiasm, right? It's what John Madden had, and it's what Brady exhibited yesterday when he just shouted, "Oh my God!" And I gasped too, and I'm not kidding you when I say that I would have been less surprised if my coffee table had gotten up and run out of the room to see Stafford run a yard and a half. So I gasped, right? And Valerie's walking past and she hears me gasp and she hears Tom Brady yell, "Oh my God," but she's got no context for everything. So all she's seeing is Stafford fall a yard and a half. And she's like, "Why are you and him reacting that way?" And I looked at her and I'm like, "You don't understand. This guy is old." And she's like, "How old is he?" And he's younger than her. And I'm like, "No, but he doesn't. He's played 17 years in this league, so he's 97.
His body is broken.
Yeah, he almost missed the start of the season with a back injury. And we never actually saw a hit. It just, he woke up, his back hurt. Tom Brady was excellent on that broadcast. And, man, I capitulated on my Brady stock at the worst possible time. I kept telling myself for a couple seasons, he's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. Put adversity in his way. He'll conquer it. It's just a matter of time. And then I felt like we reached a breaking point where I'm like, this guy's just never going to get better. And I regret that because he found the secret sauce. That team.
He's a good broadcaster.
That team found its rhythm by being, hey, we love a good game. Yeah. And they set the table when you're like, hey, partner, you feel that juice a little bit? I'm starting to feel that juice. And they get more excited and they meet every moment. In fact, down to the production elements on the bump-ins, they show them like fist pumping each other because they're just super psyched to watch football. And that's the key. That's how Tom Brady is connecting to us. We don't have any connection points to Tom Brady. We like his story, but that guy's just lived in a different world for 30 years.
The guy who gets to live in a different world over the next 2 weeks than what his 2 weeks would have been like if the result had been different yesterday is Woolen for the Seahawks, the 5th round defensive back who
got lucky.
So on one drive, this felt to me, honestly, like when I see in the animal kingdom, I have to turn away because I don't like watching when the big predators, chase down an antelope. But this felt cruel to me, what happened in this game, where he drops an interception on that drive, and then on 4th and 12, after Seattle's made the stop it needs to make, he gets a penalty for taunting the Rams sideline. And on the very next play, they target him with Puka. And not only target him so precisely that you saw while the ball was in the air, Rams running down the field with their arms up in the air, knowing it's a touchdown because Puka and Stafford are so precise.
He doesn't drop anything, Nakua.
It's crazy, but neither does Smith and Jigba.
He's a good player.
Oh, my God.
They're both unreal. And both guys JSN obviously came with high
How's he
pedigree.
so open?
Well, they scheme him, baby.
No, it's not just scheming him because they know what's coming when he's in the backfield, and he had 10 catches for 100-plus yards at the half, and his route running. I thought Brady did an excellent job of describing this. He's so compact, and his body stays in the same place, the shoulder height and everything else, that when he swivels his hips, it's always defensive backs are turning. He runs perfect routes, and the precision. Look, Mike McDonald and Sam Darnold should take the victory lap today on shutting up everybody, including me, because that game, Darnold just beat Stafford at his best. But I want to present to you guys, all of you, the normalization of one-game samples as the measurement system. I'm driving in today, and I hear Rex Ryan calling all the analytics guys nerds again, these nerd dudes, because Rex Ryan is so cool and everybody knows it. The normalization that we have in this sport, Zaslow, of this is the way we measure it. And so today everyone's saying Seattle's the better team. I don't know that. The Rams lost 6 games by a total of 21 points. The Rams, that offense is better at offense than Seattle is at defense. The Rams, this is a real stat I'm about to give you. The Rams defense fell apart. Last 9 games of the season, they allowed scores on 40% of their drives. That Rams defense fell apart and betrayed them yesterday. Stafford should not lose that game. Rarely, if ever, does a quarterback who plays that game lose that game. He did it against the number 1 defense. Darnold did it against a defense that's been bad for 9 weeks.
I get what you're saying, that you don't know if they're better, but they played yesterday, and Seahawks beat them. They're better.
Yeah, but it's a drop punt and 4th down. If Stafford had gotten, no, I don't do that.
Those are the margins.
No, but it's an imperfect measurement system. You don't leave games ever saying to yourself, I don't believe that the team that lost was the better team. That's not proof that the Seahawks are better. They just won that game.
But you started the show clamoring for a best of 3, and they've had a best of 3 this season, and the Seahawks have won 2 of them. And I understand they're close, but I think I have enough representative sample to suggest that Seattle's better.
I'm giving you 50 years of quarterback stats against number 1 defenses, and Stafford's lost the 2 of the 4 quarterbacks that have played in that game. That's an obvious statistical outlier.
Better quarterback, better team though, is the discussion, and I think we have enough to say Seattle. After what we saw from Sam Darnold, one of the great reclamation stories in sports, I get it. It was super impressive, incredible moment by Stafford gutting that play out, but this is Sam Darnold's time. This is Seattle's time.
I've been having this argument since high school with friends of mine about the way that we decide games, where after those games are played, everyone just says, Seattle and the Patriots are better. And I'm like, I don't know that. I don't because a guy who was on the practice squad the night before tips a 46-yard kick in the snow, and Sean Payton doesn't go for it or doesn't kick a field goal on 4th and short. And every time I do it, the normalization of the 1-game sample as a measurement is so normal that it's always a losing argument for me. Anytime I do it, because you guys want that to be proof that someone's better. That was not proof that someone's better to me.
They played a game and a team won. I hear you. You could probably feel pretty good about your opinion that LA Rams are better than Seattle, but that's not what the sport is. The sport is played between the lines, and you have to execute in the time that sport allows, and a team comes out on top, and
Mike,
that's the business.
I'm not actually arguing that the Rams are better. I'm saying there's not a difference between those two teams. One of them has to win and one of them has to lose, and that's the way we do it.
Yeah, by playing the game.
Head to head.
That's all that matters, is head-to-head. These two teams just played, and the Seahawks have lost a total of 3 games by 9 points. You keep doing this with the Rams and all of the games that they've lost close. They also have 6 one-score wins, including both of their playoff wins. Like, they could have easily been a team that missed the playoffs. We've talked all year long with the Chiefs about how it's not really a skill to win those one-score games. Some go your way, some don't. And the Rams' defense is abysmal. They have a great offense, but they don't have a good defense. The Seahawks are clearly the better football team, and it would have been a shame if that number 1 defense didn't get an opportunity.
Anything. Like, get out of here.
They have the best defense. They've won 2 out of 3 against the Rams. Even with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, they're the better football team. They've won more games, and they've won 2 out of 3. Head-to-head's what matters.
A punt returner dropped a punt.
This is provocative. I'm not sure what you're doing on this day.
No, I'm doing.
This is a strange place to take it.
To Dan's point, though, it took a ball bouncing off a helmet and then going into the end zone and somebody picking it up for the Seahawks to win the game on Thursday night. And then a drop punt here on a guy who almost muffed a punt earlier in the game. He dropping that and then them going in for a score.
Rams against the number 1 defense in football, 2 games, 2 games in Seattle, 64 points, 1,060 yards.
Head to head.
1 turnover, 0-2 record. And it's fine. Like, I'm not actually bothered by this in any way. I'm just saying that the Super Bowl was played yesterday by the 2 best teams in football.
I think Seattle's going to smoke them. I really do.
But Mike McDonald is good against young quarterbacks. Young quarterbacks don't do anything. Hell, what he did with 7 defensive linemen to Stafford on that last play that ended Stafford's season, where he puts 7 defensive linemen on the line and then has only 2 of them rush and drops everyone else back into coverage.
Can I tell you the most shocking part of the game yesterday for me, for Mike McDonald, Seattle Seahawks head coach? I can't be the only one who did not know this. But yesterday, realizing for the very first time that Mike McDonald, when you spell his name, the D in McDonald is lowercase. It's not the capital D. It's not MacDonald. It's the M is capitalized, and the rest of the name is lowercase. McDonald.
Like Norm McDonald?
Did you know that?
No.
Put it on the poll. What an interesting thing from yesterday to be shocked by. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that McDonald spelled his name with a lowercase d?
Zaz, so you had one of the most incredible play calls in the most clutch situation of all time, where you have 7 guys at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
you drop 5 of them. You rush 2 on a quarterback who's expecting to have some sort of open man because he sees 7 guys on the line, and then everybody's double covered for basically the game.
Yep.
And what you took away was a little D.
I want to know who decided this guy needs to have a little D.
I'm with you. That's little D energy from Sasco.
What are we doing?
For sure.
Come on, baby.
Here, the way that you do that, the only way to be as successful as Mike McDonald is to ignore your family. Here he is on the subject of, I simply don't have time to see my kids.
I actually think I'm here less, which is, I wish some of our coaches took that as well, but on Thursdays, I don't get to see Jack throughout the week as much. So Thursdays I try to get, which is today, I try to get home pretty quick to be with him for maybe a half hour before he goes to bed. And then I got a setup at my house where I can go, and then I work on the game plan. But it's able to spend some more time at home and be with Jack. And also it kind of lets you kind of get away from everything and kind of see things from a different perspective. And it keeps you fresh, so it's been helpful.
30 minutes of family time a week keeps you fresh. You have to be sort of lopsided and crazy.
You want to be 14-3, Dan? You want to win? Want to win good playoff games, Dan? You got to survive. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't see your family. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If you want to be a champion, can you see your family?
You got 30 minutes, an hour maybe. Then you got to work on the game plan again.
The Seahawks, Sam Darnold obviously did make everyone eat it yesterday because as much as I'm saying it's a punt return and a punt fumble that was the difference in that game, the actual difference in that game is that Sam Darnold was really good in 3rd and long and 4th down, and Stafford was not. And so I've said now for years, you guys have heard me say for about 10 years, the thing I want most from the quarterback position is if the defense fears me on 3rd and 10. The defense does not feel comfortable even if it is 3rd and 12, and Sam Darnold has become that. The Seattle Seahawks are great at explosive plays. Like, they've been great at explosive plays all year, and it has been wild to watch Sam Darnold turn into this and go blow for blow with Stafford against a defense that is the only one in the league that has bothered him. Sam Darnold is the winningest quarterback in the sport by game over the last 2 years, and the Rams had him solved. And for him to make the evolutions where he needs painkillers in order to play in that game. He got needles because he's got an oblique problem. He couldn't throw deep during practice all week. He couldn't throw the ball. He didn't and couldn't throw the ball downfield all week. And then second pass of the game, he throws it for 40 yards. The reason they won that game is what they did on 3rd down and long, because he crushed them on 3rd and long and made a whole lot of people, including me, eat it because I was doubting that Sam Darnold would show up and be better than Stafford. Never mind Stafford at his best. Better than Stafford at all, and he was better than Stafford at his best. That was Stafford's best game of the playoffs. He was okay in the previous 2 games with a hurt finger. He was great in that game, and it didn't matter.
That, for me, is the story. Sam Darnold played his best game ever in the NFC Championship game with an oblique injury for a thrower of the football. I understand marveling at what Matthew Stafford does, likely MVP if you're to believe the odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, but this was Sam Darnold's moment. And I still think that there is a certain air of skepticism around him, and how can you not love his story? And how he plays, too, because in an era where everyone's so afraid to turn the ball over, Sam Darnold does gun it, dude. Yeah. He turns, he'll throw interceptions, but I do think that it's healthy with him, especially if he's going to stretch the field with that receiver. I was really impressed with Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl, because that ends it forever.
I think it's also a masterclass from Kubiak, too, who is incredible as a play caller. You have a lot of these times where they want to run the ball at the end of games. Kubiak's running out play action. He's throwing the ball with 4 minutes left. He's putting JSN in different positions to win, outside, inside, in the backfield. There was a play where JSN catches that touchdown completely wide open, where he runs a scissor route from the running back position, where Cooper Kupp is running a whip route to the other side, and he's basically wide open, and the defender has to choose between 2 guys, and JSN's wide open.
Good organizations. I'm sorry, Zaz, but that's my takeaway from seeing what Seattle had to close the book on Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson had to build itself back, had to find itself. Carroll was there for them trying to tread water with Geno, but they hit the reset button and they got right back to the Super Bowl. Same thing with New England. They hit one of the hardest resets ever, and they're back at the Super Bowl. And I think that's a testament to good franchises, and the ones like the Browns and the Dolphins and the Jets that just struggle with way more chances than these franchises have had to reshape themselves and get back in the game. It's a testament to good ownership and good front offices.
Couple thoughts on Darnold. He's the first quarterback from that famous draft class to get to a Super Bowl, right? It was Darnold, Mayfield, Rosen, Allen, and Lamar Jackson, right? So Darnold's the first one to get to the Super Bowl of that group. And also, has there ever been a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl who's been on 5 teams? This is his 5th team, and he's starting in the Super Bowl. That feels really unheard of for a QB to bounce around like this and to be a starting quarterback.
Let's think
Super
about
Bowl.
that for a second, because a couple of points I wanted to make off what you guys said. It's forgotten now that the Seahawks wanted Geno Smith back. He didn't want to go back. He wanted to start over somewhere else. So that wasn't even that they got rid of Geno Smith because they wanted to get rid of Geno Smith. They wanted to stay with Geno Smith. What happened yesterday, though, that was interesting to me at the quarterback position is, obviously, we've all gotten used to the Rams trusting Stafford implicitly. the Seahawks trusting Darnold so implicitly with 5 minutes left you're not going to turn the ball over. We know you've got this. We know that we're going to keep throwing on 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10 when all other teams in the league would be running the ball here. They wouldn't be doing play action here. That part was earned. Sam Darnold has earned that from the Seahawks staff, but it was crazy to watch given what it is that you just said. Going back to what I was saying earlier, though, because I understand why you guys today after that game would say, come on, Dan, the Seahawks are better. You're sure the Patriots are better than the Broncos? Because Stidham, that mistake is the one mistake. That mistake that he made that cost them their season is a mistake of such intergalactic stupidity that it was shocking to see a professional quarterback throw the ball backward when the whole game plan is, Jared, just don't do that. Do anything but that. Don't give them the ball at the 12-yard line because our defense is going to make sure that the Patriots don't go anywhere. The Patriots offense in the last 2 games is as incompetent, and this isn't their fault. It's because the defenses they faced, as mentioned, were so good. But that's as incompetent as an offense can be and get to the Super Bowl. And Jarrett Stidham handed them the game by throwing the ball backward on a pump fake when all he's got to do is throw the ball at the feet of his running back because his only job in that game is don't do that.
I feel like when I say we're not talking about it, I mean everyone who's talked about the game so far, not this show. That's not getting enough attention because all the attention is going toward the Sean Payton, let's go for 4th down instead of kick the field goal up 7-0. Like, that's getting all the attention, not even the Stidham play.
To be fair, though, there's no way that Sean Payton would have known there was a massive blizzard
Why?
coming.
Why wouldn't he know that?
No, wait a minute.
Why wouldn't he know
wait a
that?
minute. Wait, there are a couple of things. Wait a minute, Tony. Your coach has to know that. Never mind, no way of knowing that.
Has to know.
Your coach has to know that. On the broadcast, they said something, and I wondered about this too. I don't know how it is that the Patriots come about wearing white uniforms, but when Romo was saying the orange uniforms are easier to see in the snow, the Patriots are simply not going to be able to see where their receivers are. If I'm a coach, have to prepare for the idea that the second half is going to have terrible weather. What do you mean there's no way to know that? There is a way to know that.
You figure you're going to be able to get one more, drive, one more score before things go to hell, and they weren't able to.
Chris Chandler is the name that came up. Most stops.
Really?
Yeah.
The Atlanta Super Bowl?
Yeah, because he played for, I think, for like 6 teams. Gannon is
Wow.
also, Rich Gannon was like a starter at different places. I think that he finally made the Super Bowl with his 4th team over there.
Okay.
It's a good question, though, that you ask. And Chandler ended up losing that Super Bowl by 50 points. And the only thing, and had a great season that season, was exceptional that season. But the only thing I remember from that Super Bowl is Man of the Year Eugene Robinson getting caught on the streets of Biscayne Bay. Can you guys look for me what it is that he was paid in cash back when we took cash in this country? What he paid in cash allegedly as the Man of the Year the night before the Super Bowl to pick up a sex worker because it is one of the most amazing Super Bowl stories any of us have
Before the
ever
internet,
seen.
you know?
Well, it's before the internet. Understand it's before a lot of things, but it's still Biscayne Boulevard. And anyone who knows what Biscayne Boulevard just generally is, it's not where you find a sex worker at midnight that's going to cost you a lot of money. And so
We're still looking for the dollar figure, by the way.
Thank you. You'll find it. I remember it was a paltry sum for those particular services that he was looking for, and he was the Man of the Year, and it's the only thing I remember.
It doesn't take away from him being Man of the Year.
Speaking
One bad night.
Yeah.
before the Super Bowl, it doesn't.
Who among us, Dan?
It
Come on.
doesn't. Wait a minute. It doesn't take away from him being. All right, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does propositioning a sex worker the night before the Super Bowl take away from being NFL Man of the Year?
Victimless crime.
$40.
Does that change your opinion at all?
No. That
What's the
makes,
inflation rate there?
that enhances my opinion.
The economy.
40.
That's the inflation. It could be $100. I don't know. Things are more expensive now.
No,
The deal you couldn't pass up.
no, no. $40.
I'm gonna look it up.
Well,
Negotiations.
for those of you who do not know the different parts of Miami, I want to talk about a different part of Miami. The city of Hialeah is offended by the new Netflix movie, The Rip, with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They are cops who happen upon a home. They happen upon a home that's got $24 million cash in it, and then the dilemma follows of whether they're going to be ethical or not. And the city of Hialeah doesn't like how it's being portrayed in this movie. And so the city of Hialeah has sent out a statement about the movie The Rip. And I have not seen, Tony, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen the city of Hialeah send out a statement, does not like how it's being portrayed to the country in this movie? And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I feel like any movie that portrays Hialeah anyway is going to be accurate, because I'm going to find any of what's being portrayed in any movie in some part of Hialeah.
To be fair, okay, so I saw the movie last night, fun movie. Ben and Matt Damon were great. It actually painted Hialeah in a better light than what reality is. If you want me to be really honest,
It was on a cul-de-sac.
It was on a cul-de-sac. I'm like, those houses are not in Hialeah. There's no 2-story houses like that in a cul-de-sac in Hialeah history. Those don't exist. Those are actually people's different houses that are stacked on top of each other that they've built and that are renting out. So it looks better on TV than it is in real life. I didn't see any chickens. I didn't see any people selling water or coconuts on the street. I didn't see any of that.
It's not an accurate portrayal.
It looks like Miami Lakes, which is where the story actually happened.
Right.
The one that inspired the script. And Miami Lakes is close enough to Hialeah. You could still tell that
It's right there.
story.
It's on the borderline.
Why did we change it to Hialeah?
Well, let's hear from Ben Affleck on this. Evidently, he doesn't know yet how to say Hialeah, despite all of the research that he has done. It is not yet something that he knows how to say.
We had a Crime Stopper tip come in after closing. We ran it. Now I'm out here in Hialeah, stuck in the...
I mean, yeah.
You mean yeah?
Hialeah.
There's times where I'm watching Heat games, and I'm not going to say the dealership, but they paid somebody that does a voiceover, and they say something in Hialeah, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Hialeah.
Quality control, man.
Hialeah.
You need un guanito in there telling you, oye, Leah, Hialeah.
Hialeah.
That's why you need DEI right there.
Hialeah.
So Ben Affleck doesn't do that. When he researches the town, he goes to prison to talk to people who have robbed banks, and he grabs the stories.
You heard that podcast,
Yeah,
huh?
and when he grabs the stories, one of the stories that he grabs from somebody who was robbing a bank is that the cop just looked the other way when he saw that he was going to be in an incident where 3 people are getting out of a van with shotguns.
That's a good scene.
It is a good scene, but if he's willing to do that kind of research, shouldn't he do the research that allows him? Shouldn't somebody Hispanic tell him this isn't how you say Hialeah?
Hialeah.
They were dressed as nuns, Dan.
Hialeah.
Hialeah pointed out we're not Miami Lakes in the statement. And you're right. I've never thought of Hialeah as being as wonderful as Miami Lakes.
Hialeah.
It's more colorful.
Hialeah.
It's more cultural.
Hialeah.
It's more Hispanic.
Hialeah.
It's got more dirty businesses and corners.
Hialeah.
But I didn't think that Hialeah would be offended by being compared to Miami Lakes.
Hialeah.
Also, you get put on the big screen. You're talking about millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people knowing about your city. Brian Calvo, sir, please wake up.
Hialeah.
There is nothing that has happened to the economy more shocking to me than Hialeah
Hialeah.
being the 5th least affordable housing market in America.
Welcome to Miami, Dan.
Hialeah.
I understand that Miami's the worst, that Miami is the worst here, but Hialeah, come on.
Dude.
You guys, come on.
There is this one house in Hialeah
Hialeah.
that looks like a Leon Medical Center.
Yeah.
So I think the lore around it is like the person like won some sort of lottery and decided, no, I'm Hialeah through and through, and I'm just gonna soup up a compound in the middle of this Hialeah neighborhood.
Hialeah.
The weird part about Hialeah is that there's different streets that are different directions, right? So there's West 84th Street, but Northwest 37th Street. And you're like, wait, how is this the same street
You have
with
to go
different
out.
numbers?
You have to go out there and do a Tony. You have to
You want
do
me to go tomorrow?
a Tony's top 5.
You want to do my top 5 tomorrow?
Well, I want you to show people that the addresses don't make sense. Waze is not going to help you. Satellite systems and AI
There's streets that are
not gonna
literal
help you.
90-degree angles
No.
that you have to do a 90-degree angle, and you're like, I can't turn my car this way.
I told you one of the most impressive things I've ever seen my dad do, and he called himself El Raton de Hialeah.
Hialeah.
Is that he found me a spare tire for my car for $10. Like, yeah, $10 by going down a side alley and just a door opened and somebody threw a tire at him, $10 cash, and that's what happened. Tony, did Ben Affleck also screw up in the movie Valet?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hialeah.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Hialeah.
Since the Dolphins have won a playoff game, the Patriots have not merely 10 Super Bowl appearances, they've got 17 AFC East titles and 6 Super Bowl wins. And I will say again, when it comes to the ego of coaches and in general, how often people think that they are responsible for their own success without granting the idea that a lot of luck is involved and that you have to have a lot of support. You have to admit that Bill Belichick 6 years ago could not have imagined a scenario where there's a 10-part docuseries that rips him for not being as responsible for those victories as you might think, that also has Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl by beating Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and who was the third quarterback? There was 3 great and Mahomes. And Mahomes, he beats 3 quarterbacks and some of them on the road to win the Super Bowl. And then after that the Patriots would get one of his former linebackers and that Vrabel would turn into one of the sport's great coaches, that they wouldn't need Belichick at all to get back there.
And don't forget, with a quarterback that, according to legend, you told your social media staff to not post about because he's a Tar Heel, but he's doing it with the Patriots, and that makes Daddy look bad.
So I don't think he's the same quarterback that the stats are rolling around on McDonald, how good he is against quarterbacks who are under 24 years old. I think Drake May is a unique talent at the position, but there are good, valid reasons to question how good that Patriots team is. And I wondered yesterday, I assumed that Patriot fans would fear Stafford more and not want the Rams to advance. But what they should fear is what Seattle's defensive line is going to do to cave in the right side of their offensive line, which is injured. Because that is incompetence, what you have seen from the Patriot offense to advance to the Super Bowl. Rare, outside of Trent Dilfer's Ravens, I have rarely seen a team be this kind of incompetent in offense the last 2 games and get to the Super Bowl. It's not, and those Raven teams had to injure Rich Gannon on the road in order to do that by having Tony Siragusa just fall down on Rich Gannon in a way that injured the MVP.
I'm hearing us talk this game out, and I guess the general feeling is that Seattle rolls, right?
You know what that sets up for?
Mike Vrabel, live doggy.
Live dog.
I counted out live doggy in the sport's biggest game. I'm just saying.
Wouldn't you think, though, that the Rams were fearing most Stafford, correct? The Patriots were fearing most Stafford advancing to the next game, that they would have preferred to play against Sam Darnold than Stafford, no?
Nah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, is that a bad answer? I don't.
It's terrible.
I don't know. I don't know.
Work.
I don't see Mike Vrabel and his staff like, geez, I hope it's.
I'm talking about fans. I was talking about Patriot fans.
I think they'd be more afraid of Seattle because we know Seattle's defense is great. The Rams' defense, not so good, and the Patriots, like you said, offensively have struggled against really good defenses these last couple of weeks. So I think they probably would have actually rather seen Rams.
It's also been, not to be the weather guy, but it's also been the weather, right? When they played against Houston a couple weeks ago, there was slushy, wintry mix that they really couldn't get the field going.
But the score was 10-7 at the end of the third quarter before it even started snowing.
That's the conference championship game. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago in Houston where it was slushing and raining and wet and cold, and then the week after they have another weather anomaly. So it's like you're looking at these 2 games, it's like, well, you don't have your full offense out there to be able to do the things you want to do. He's the best deep ball thrower in the league and hasn't been able to throw a deep ball in 2 weeks.
It is a nice word, Jeremy. I don't know if it was a right word, but it was a nice word.
Oh, no,
it
is.
He did good.
It's the right word.
Zaz loves and has told us he loves low-scoring games, defensive
I enjoyed that
games.
game very much.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Did you watch it, or are you a big phony?
No, I did watch it.
Big phony.
I am a big phony. I did end up watching it, and
Of course you did.
I regretted those 3
love that
hours
game.
of my life. Why would you love that game?
Dan, every
Dan,
play
it
is
wasn't
huge.
snowing, Dan, and then it was snowing. Like, come
That's
on.
like the tale of two games.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Tail of two halves.
I was hating from the sidelines, and then I saw that single camera shot following Stidham as he's there on the field with his family, and his kids are hugging him,
Family.
and he's stretching out, and they're just like, it's great cinematography. The camera just swoops around a stadium full of people.
You know
I'm like,
about that cinematography?
This is such a cool story.
And then he throws
Steady
a
up.
dot, and then he throws a dot over to Marvin Mims Jr. for 55 yards. And you're like, oh my God, there's no way it's going to happen. Sean Payton's going to do it with Jared Stidham.
With his 90s ass hair.
Oh, wow.
Then he threw it back.
Danny Tanner
guys,
looking hair.
I cannot be alone in this room of thinking that game was an abomination.
Nope, loved it.
And put me in the weird position of rooting for the Patriots because I did not want Stidham in the Super Bowl. Like, for what? For what? Why would I want to watch that? Like, you're ruining the entire game for me. At least this time I can pretend that Vrabel and the Patriots have a chance, and I can talk myself into all football games are close because football's crazy that way. I couldn't have done it if Denver had been in the Super Bowl against either one of those two teams I watched in the later game yesterday. The Denver might have slowed and tried to muck up a Rams or Seattle Super Bowl, but they wouldn't have had a chance with Stidham like that. I'm telling you, there are very few quarterbacks in the history of the league that game plan the way that the Broncos game plan and make the mistake that Stidham made in that situation. Like, that is, you cannot make that mistake. Like, you can turn the ball over down the field. You cannot inside of your own 15-yard line when your defense is playing like that, when clearly the weather and the home field are going to help you later in the game. You cannot make that mistake as a competent quarterback. And Rex Ryan said this morning on Get Up, that's why he will be a backup the remainder of his career and will never be a starter. But I wanted to ask you about another.
Way to put yourself
What a
out there.
take. The guy who hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years. Backup.
The career backup's going to be a career backup. Get out of town.
The thing that I wanted to ask you about Rex Ryan, though, is when he dismisses, he was talking about the Sean Payton play and the fact that Sean Payton went for it on 4th and short and failed when he could have gotten a 10-0 lead instead of a 7-0 lead. And his defense is obviously exceptional, and that front four is as good as any that has played the game statistically in terms of applying pressure. When he sees his beloved game turn into a different thing where coaches are going for it more and more on 4th and short, and he yells about these nerd dudes the way that Tony Dungy does, that lands on me wrong every single time that these dinosaurs keep shaking a fist about how they used to do it because they don't like the change. How do you absorb Rex Ryan being on television and just pounding people with these nerd dudes because all they're doing is applying the facts of math, and he wants to eliminate them because he's the coach who prefers caveman? He wants to beat you over the head with a club instead of listening to just the probabilities of math. Clearly, Rex Ryan is scared of math, and it's confusing to me.
Well, here's the irony of the way Rex Ryan feels, because he's a caveman, okay? And so he doesn't like the nerd boy stuff. The nerd boy stuff is being aggressive.
Super.
It's them wanting to actually be tough.
And it's
Like,
short yardage, line
Yeah.
of scrimmage battles. It lends
Yes.
itself to the caveman mentality.
Rex
It's why,
Ryan
hell,
actually-
even Mario Cristobal became like super
Yeah,
aggressive.
like Rex Ryan with his caveman tough guy football does the opposite of tough. He punts on 4th and 1, or he runs the ball so they can use up the clock instead of Darnold throwing the ball at the end of the game so they can pick up the first down, or going for 4th and short. It's like the nerd boys are actually the ones playing tough guy, aggressive football. Rex Ryan's the coward in those spots.
And there's not that many cavemen left in head coaching, right? In the NFL, you look around the league and you're like, there's only a handful of guys that are not going to do that thing. That are not going to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. And we're going to see that move over into the media space too, where all these guys who played the game and coached the game a certain way, now they're going to just age out. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. What we need is the new people that are talking about analytics. They're talking about going forward on 4th and 4 in a short yard situation.
The idea that you would age out so close-mindedly that you would be like Greg Cody against learning seems to run against what the definition of coaching is supposed to be. The Steelers just hired Mike McCarthy. He is viewed as one of those cavemen, but he has evolved, and he was somebody who was changing the way that he was applying his ideas to fourth downs.
It's just bewildering that, of all people, Mike McCarthy has been the head coach for the Packers, Cowboys, and now the Steelers. These are crown jewel franchises, and he is such an ordinary man.
This signaled to me, I thought, a desire to lure Aaron Rodgers into another season.
Wasn't there a schism with McCarthy and Rodgers?
I read that book with my ears. I don't think this sweetens the pot for Aaron.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does either.
Okay, I don't know. I just assumed that. But the thing that was most confusing to me about everything that happened there is how weird for Mike Tomlin to leave without any fanfare, without any press conference, without any interview, without any saying goodbye to Pittsburgh. Like you have a coach who has no losing seasons for 19 years, and he slips out a side door. And I'm not sure what his contract status was. Like, did he leave money on the table in order to? So he just leaves the job with no fanfare. The Steelers have had 3 coaches in their history. How is it possible?
No. They haven't had 3 coaches in their history.
Yeah, this is a common mistake that you made. I mean,
100-year-old
pretty much,
team.
but
No,
they had,
since the 70s, since the merger. Since the merger, fine.
I'm not. I know you're giving me the hand dismissal. I'm trying to help you, pal.
That's not helpful to me.
Yes, because everyone's like, Dan's an
there-
idiot. I'm like, no, he's not.
no,
Come on,
there
use your
wasn't-
eyes.
There wasn't football. There wasn't real football until the merger. Like all the stats are after the
That's not fake
merger.
football.
Like it's not.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you want to cite the 1940s?
Hey,
okay.
I'm speaking for the ops. All right, that's all I'm doing.
I don't
What did
speak-
you
I
want?
don't
The
care
end
what
of
the- I don't
season.
care what the
You wanted
ops
the end of
say.
Oh, I
season
like that, Dan. Let's
press
go.
conference. The way that Tony Donato had it for the Miami
No,
Sharks, where he surprises everybody. I'm gonna control Albuquerque, and I've signed Willie Beeman as my quarterback.
This guy does a good.
It's a game of inches.
How did it surprise everybody in the room? Wait, there's an expansion franchise. Tony Donato's operating it, and he just signed Willie Beeman, and he's breaking all these things to us at the same time, in front of John C. McGinley.
They're terrible reporters. Not a single one of them could have had the scoop.
He punched one of those reporters.
There was an eyeball on the field in any given
I would've had that scoop,
Sunday. It is weird
Journalist over
that we are so bad at making football movies, given how
That movie
popular the
sucks.
sport is. Well, there just aren't very many. Like, you're going to have a hard time. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you name in the history of film 5 good football movies? An eyeball on the field does not look realistic.
I loved that movie when it came out, Dan, Any Given Sunday. Boog Shambi used to give me a hard time for my love of that movie. And about 2 years ago, my older son, I was like, you want to watch a great movie? Let's watch Any Given Sunday. You're going to love this. So we sat on the couch. I hadn't seen it in 15 years. So we sat on the couch together. We put it on. About 20 minutes in, we looked at each other. I'm like, this movie sucks.
What?
And we stopped
What are you
watching.
doing?
No, the movie's great.
What are you doing?
It really
sucks.
hits the ground running,
The movie
too.
sucks.
You don't like football, dude.
You don't, man, that's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Can you guys look up for me? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is on Any Given Sunday a great movie? And look up for me whatever details you can find about the LL Cool J, Jamie Foxx fight offset in that movie. Because I am surprised that football hasn't had more good movies made about it in the history of film. I had the same experience. Have you guys had this experience? Can you guys name some of the movies in your life that you've gone back to revisit that you saw at one age and then saw later? Because the movie Warriors, I saw in whenever it was, the late 70s, early 80s, and then I revisited it 20 years later, and it doesn't actually hold up. I had a very bad experience with it, watching it 20 years later. Mac Hollins showed up yesterday. He was dancing in the huddle before the one good play in that game, the flea flicker that they threw the ball to him. He appeared at the game dressed up as, is it Cyrus? Is Cyrus the guy that was clicking bottles in the Warriors saying, Warriors, come out out and play. Go ahead and show people the footage of Mac Hollins. I had no proof there were any wide receivers in that football game, in the early game played yesterday. I can't believe that Zaslow liked that football game.
Mm-hmm. I did.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you like watching Patriots-Broncos? There just can't be anybody that liked watching Patriots-Broncos. How is that possible?
Of course. Smash
Right
Mouth football.
Yeah,
Right
but it
here.
wasn't. What do you mean smash? It was just run the ball.
It's Smash Mouth football.
But it's run the ball in the line. Nobody can move. Nobody can see anything. It's stupid. It's a stupid
It's a
way to
game of
decide.
chess.
It's a stupid
Thank
way
you,
to
Zaz.
decide who gets to the Super Bowl. A backup quarterback playing, throwing the ball backwards like that. That was not.
Do we know if that was a pass or a fumble?
I mean, it was ruled a fumble, wasn't it? It was a behind the line.
Warriors, come out to play.
Does Matt Collins know that that was the bad guy and that guy lost in Warriors?
Again, that's
Probably
a play
not.
on. Doesn't matter.
Not.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, man.
The movie came out 45 years ago.
Did any of you watch Skyscraper this
Hell
weekend?
yeah!
Is that the one where The Rock has a peg leg?
Yup.
We don't
You
say
see,
peg
he
leg
jumped
anymore.
from the scaffold to the building, and his trajectory went up.
With a peg leg. Does it
Yeah.
have like a special like hydraulic thing
I
in it,
don't
or
know.
no?
That's a good question.
We can't say peg leg?
No.
What? Since when?
The great Jeremy Taché sticking up for me.
I'm an ally.
We can say peg leg, guys. Come on.
Skyscraper.
Great movie.
I wasn't talking about the movie.
Is he hanging out from a helicopter in that movie, or is that a different movie?
I was watching it on
That's
mute.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, gotcha.
I was watching it on mute. What
No
kind of
peg
expertise did Seth Rollins bring to the
Hobbled.
proceedings, other than energy? But as it built towards the end, did Seth Rollins have something like in terms of analysis?
Seth Rollins wasn't in that. Nev Campbell was in it.
Ooh,
not
Nev
Seth
Campbell.
Rollins.
For those of you who do not know, because they can't stop getting off their skyscraper jokes in the Rock movie, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh.
I was talking about Netflix doing what is, every 5 or 10 years we do something like this where you're going to...
Guy's going to climb this thing. And we're like, wait, what?
A famed rock climber is going to
so
do
high.
a daredevil stunt live on television where he's going to... They had to cancel it the day before. It was supposed to be the day before, but inclement weather, which is affecting
Anomaly.
everywhere except Miami in the United States, made it so that it was unsafe to... climb a skyscraper without ropes or nets, which
And-
I would say it's always unsafe to do that, but evidently there's weather that makes it more unsafe.
Well, and you got to take into account, Dan, there was a fire, like in the middle of the building. Now, Rock didn't know because he was like higher up, and it was like the world's tallest building. And also he helped design it, okay? That's kind of how, he knew his way around. But there was a massive fire, like in the middle of the building. So maybe that played a role, too, in not being able to climb it.
I am sick watching this, okay? As I'm watching what he's doing here and seeing the amount of wind that is making, his name is Alex Hanold, and he is doing something here that it makes me queasy to watch this because of the height, obviously, the danger, and the only reason you'd be watching it, correct?
Not his name. His name was Will Sawyer.
Is to see if he'll fall or not, right? I saw you had to look that up. You didn't
What?
remember off the top of your head like all of the great characters in movie history. Mike Ryan just summoned the name of the coach on Any Given Sunday
Tony
from
Donato.
25 years ago. You had to look up The Rock's character name in Skyscraper.
Everyone knows.
Because what do you mean? I just saw
Will
you look
Sawyer.
it up. I just saw.
Just wanted to be sure.
He's a journalist, Dan.
None of you watch this?
It was the worst. It was the worst kept secret of all time. Like nobody, I didn't even know what was happening. Nobody said to me, "Hey, there's a guy climbing the tallest building in the world." I was like, "Oh, sick." Nobody said that until after I saw that he reached the top, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he did it."
Yesterday, when you say poorly kept secrets, I learned yesterday, not that I didn't totally understand it, but it became a factoid that taught me yesterday. I did not know that Patrick Dempsey was a hitman on a television show until seeing the commercial for it during football
I
yesterday.
need to apologize. It's Tony D'Amato.
Oh, you idiot.
Not
You
Donato.
got it wrong.
I said Donato. It's
Oh
D'Amato.
my God! How embarrassed
Like
are you
cuss?
right now?
I'm pretty embarrassed. Because other than that, I was nailing my trivia. By the way, Jeremy has an update on the LL Cool J Jamie Foxx fight.
Yeah, they were supposed to be getting into a heated argument on the sidelines when they were in character, but then Jamie Foxx was getting frustrated because LL Cool J was being just a little too aggressive with him during the scene, so when they went to do a second take, LL Cool J was even more aggressive with him. So then Jamie Foxx punched him in the face, and so he was like, hey, why'd you do that? And he was like, you want to see why? And he had a helmet on, and then he stood there in a fighting stance, and so LL Cool J ripped his helmet off and punched him in the face and knocked him out cold.
In his defense, though, Willie was changing the plays in the huddle. He wasn't executing the plays that coaches were calling.
Steamin' Willie Beeman.
Steamin' Willie
Like Drake
Beeman,
May.
and LL Cool J was upset because that's eaten into his bonus. Like, why didn't you get the ball there? He's changing the plays in the huddle, coach. And then that fight happened in the sauna where Lawrence Taylor looks terrifying.
Jeremy, can you look up for me if Jim Brown was body slammed during that altercation trying to separate them? Because that LL Cool J tells that story with some pride. Jamie Foxx does not. What do you make of the fact that Mina Kimes, a very ardent Seahawks fan, tweeted this offseason after the Seahawks traded Geno Smith, quote, flat out, this is a terrible move by Seattle. Chances of upgrading are extremely low, end quote. Did you guys hear or see a lot of Sam Darnold supporters at any point? Did you? Who are the Sam Darnold believers and the people who can say, like Mike McDonald does today, oh, Sam shut everybody up. He just had, in the biggest game of his life, the best game of his life. One of the best games a quarterback has ever had under any circumstances. Sam Darnold just had it. You cannot beat Matthew Stafford at his best unless Sam Darnold has that game on 3rd and 4th down.
It's basically McDonald and Kubiak are the two guys that can be like, yeah, I told you so. We saw something in Sam. We knew that it was going to translate into our offense. But if you thought in the beginning of the year that I just saw on ESPN, they were 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. And you look at what they did in the offseason, you're like, all right, you get rid of Geno Smith, you bring in Sam Darnold. This offensive line is young. It's not that good. Their defensive line has gotten better. Their defense is okay. Mike McDonald's going to do a good job there. But offensively, I didn't know if JSN could be a number 1 wide receiver. Boy, did he prove us wrong.
Player.
He's the best wide receiver in the NFL. And you look at Ken Walker, and you're like, he's kind of gotten hurt sometimes. Sam Darnold, you don't know what you're going to get if it was Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, or is it really Sam Darnold? And now with 30 wins under his belt the last 2 years, most winning quarterback in the NFL, you can stands to reason, all right, Sam Darnold's actually pretty good.
Vikings must feel terrible, right?
I mean, they're not the only ones. There are any number of people who could have had that as their quarterback. When I keep giving you the stat again and again that the Patriots have done what they have done in the last 25 years since the Dolphins have won a playoff game, half the teams in the league could regret not getting Sam Darnold, and all of them could have had Sam Darnold. Even Seattle wanted Geno Smith to come back. Like that was a Geno Smith call. Geno Smith and Pete Carroll thought that it would be something that they could just recreate with the Raiders. And as far as reclamation projects go, that's a super interesting one to me, because if you take that quarterback in the top 5 and you just simply watch him yesterday, you see all the things that you need to see about, oh, that's magical arm strength. That's amazing accuracy. That's pocket awareness. But I'm also used to that coming with 3 interceptions in a game when I trust it. I'm used to that panicking in the pocket when the pass rush gets ferocious. The stat I gave earlier on the Rams defense, like allowing points on 40% of your drives in the last 9 games, like that doesn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. Like you need superhuman MVP play from your quarterback in order to overcome that. The thing to me that's amazing about yesterday is it wasn't a defensive game. Seattle's number 1 defense did not play like it. Gave you no evidence. Anybody tuning in for the first time to watch yesterday what's allegedly the number 1 defense in the league, look, when I watch Denver play, I see a great defense. When I see Houston play, I see a great defense. I'm watching yesterday, no evidence of a good defense, never mind a great defense. Where was the evidence? It's not. They didn't bother Stafford. It wasn't like huge pass rush. There wasn't anything about that Seattle defense that gave off special yesterday.
They came up with the big play in the big moment. I mean, 4th down on the goal line.
With a gimmick. But with a gimmick, they did it.
That's not a gimmick, Dan. That's a scheme. That's situationally great football. You win in the margins in the NFL. I mean, yeah, you're going to let up a ton of points to one of the best offenses, but in the clutch situations, in the places where you need to get a stop, they were able to do what they needed to do.
You say that, but Parkinson dropped a ball that
Agreed.
would have been that he would have just run
Walked
into
in,
he would have walked into the end zone
That's
with the ball.
business. It's about who wins.
I understand.
It's not about who you think is better. It's about who wins.
I'm not saying it's about who I think is better, and I'm going to again tell you that it's not that I think the Rams are better. It's that I don't think there's any difference between those two teams, and if they played 100 times, it wouldn't surprise me if each of them won 50 times.
And in their same division, if San Francisco doesn't work by a power plant, electrical substation, and have all those EMF situations, who's to say San Francisco is not better than both of them?
The thing about the measurements that is interesting to me in that sport is that it's more random than all of the others. Like even hockey and baseball, which could be wildly random, the sample size isn't one game. They give you 5 to 7 games to decide something. And Jeremy gave you the stats earlier of what's happened when the Rams and the Seahawks have played. Never mind the last 3 times this season. In the entirety of them playing, the difference between those teams throughout their history isn't anything. They are separated this year by a 4th down, by a call is the difference that Seattle goes to the Super Bowl and the Rams don't. And to me, that is kind of nuts that both games yesterday and football in general is so close that you can go into any one of the games, change one of the plays, and change the entirety of the result. And history doesn't remember any of it because we do simplify it right down to it doesn't matter who should have won, who could have won. The only thing we care about is who did win.
I mean, basketball is kind of the only sport where that doesn't apply. Well,
one game samples, like you can get to one game samples, but it's a game 7. Like generally speaking, we have series as a more accurate measurement, something that at least reduces improbabilities. It can also happen there, but if the thing that's frustrating to me about this conversation today, because it's been so normalized, this is how we measure it in football, and it's just how it is. That if I gave you right now, Seattle's up 2-1 in a 7-game series between the Rams and Seattle, none of you would count the Rams out. Like you simply, none of you would do it because there isn't much of a difference between what those two teams were this season and the last time. Like this one at least wasn't fluky. This is the one that Seattle was most impressive in. You know what's funny about this? Seattle might have been the most impressive of all of them in the first one, the one they lost because they had 4 turnovers and were still kicking a field goal at the end to win the game on the road. So the most impressive one of the Seattle defense was certainly the first one. It wasn't the second one, and it wasn't the third one because Seattle's defense over the last month hadn't allowed a 20-yard play. In the last month, they were the best defense in the sport like they were all year, but they were not in this game. How many people before this game, never mind Mina getting it wrong or everybody getting it wrong or me getting it wrong, how many people before this game would have signed up for the bet Seattle's defense is going to get ransacked and Sam Darnold's just going to be better than Matthew Stafford? Because this was the most lopsided one Seattle had. If not for a dumb, unsportsmanlike call, they were up 31-20 and could have just handled the rest of the game because there was no circumstance under which the Rams were going to be stopping Sam Darnold on this day. They weren't even bothering him. There weren't a bunch of dropped interceptions. There was like one bad throw that Sam Darnold made that could have been picked off. This was, of the games, this was the most impressive one Seattle played.
Can I defend Mina Kimes for a second? All she said in that tweet was, letting go of Geno Smith's a mistake. It's going to be really difficult to upgrade. She didn't say they're not going to upgrade. She didn't know they were going to sign Sam Darnold to be really difficult to upgrade. But guess what? They did. They surpass that difficulty. I don't
On
know.
a bargain deal, it looks like now, right?
Yeah.
If you win the Super Bowl, what did they paid him
Oh,
$100
but
million?
I don't think she was wrong.
Well, she was wrong.
No, she thought it would be difficult to upgrade.
It
but
was difficult, but they did it.
Yeah, it was difficult and they did it.
So Bill Bellamy says that during that fight, Jim Brown was not body slammed. It was a separate altercation because there used to be chess played on set, and that Jim Brown with some of the young guys who were ex-football players, he specifically said a couple of guys who were from Liberty City in particular, he used to get very sarcastic, but, hey, you sure you want to use that queen here in this situation? And it just started to really rub guys the wrong way, and they had no idea who Jim Brown was. And so ultimately, the next day, after one of those times where a guy had gotten frustrated, just as simple as walking up to Jim Brown, picking him up, body slamming him right on set.
I regard the original Longest Yard as the best football movie ever made, but I'm guessing that Jeremy and Tony haven't even seen it, and I'm wondering if it holds up, given that it's a movie from the 1970s.
The Burt Reynolds one?
The one with Sandler?
No, that's not the original
That's a
one.
horrible movie.
That's not the original one. With McCheesy? No, that's not. That is not
No,
the
Burt Reynolds
original.
is the original.
Well, Burt Reynolds is in both of them, but
Right.
Burt Reynolds was the star of the original, and I think Adam Sandler and who else was in the second? Michael
Chris
Irvin.
Rock.
Michael
Rock.
Irvin was one of the
A
stars.
bunch of
Terry
people in
Crews.
that one, yeah.
Stone Cold.
But so
Bill Goldberg.
but Jeremy and Tony have no idea what the original 1977 Longest Yard is, right? Do you imagine that it would hold up? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the original Longest Yard the best football movie ever made? And does the original Longest Yard hold up in 2026?
Ooh, that final scene where Burt Reynolds was going to pick up that football. It doesn't. Ooh, that was tense.
Spoiler alert.
It's not the best football movie ever made. Friday Night Lights is.
Remember the Titans. What are we
No,
doing?
the last
No,
scene,
it
Remember
ca-
the
no,
Titans
you
blows
can't, it can't be
Yeah.
Remember the
What?
Titans. You can't fool the district coach champion that's a legend with a double reverse 80 yards from
80-yard end around.
You're not even throwing the ball. You're just. I mean, Sunshine. Look, Sunshine wasn't that fast, and the blocking on that play was ridiculous. You can't have an 80-yard reverse as the climax
ruins the
of the
movie.
movie. It
Weird
does.
time to argue against Remember the Titans.
Between living and dying.
I'm a Varsity Blues man.
You can't be.
Yeah.
Little Giants. Come on.
Varsity Blues,
You
baby.
can't be. You can't. What are you now? You're
She's got the
Christopher
whipped cream.
Walken.
Cock of the
again?
walk, baby.
She's got the whipped cream. Yeah, come on.
Hey, come on. They go out
No.
of a place,
How
and
they
then all of
are.
a sudden it's daytime, and they're like, oh, no, we got a game.
Do you know that because of Varsity Blues and somehow the popularity of that movie, that thing that those kids did where they laid on a
No,
highway?
that's the program. That was the program.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Great movie,
confusing. No, neither of these.
Yeah.
are
Oh,
great.
how dare
What are you
you?
doing about Varsity
How
Blues? Come on.
dare you?
Can you think you can name 5 great football movies? Do you think you think that you could come up in the history of film? Because if you're going to give the program great, then you can do it.
The
But
program. Are you hurt? You injured?
the story I was going to tell about the program that I confused with Varsity Blues. Both of them had a stereotypical fat guy in them, right? Both of them,
yeah, okay.
but both of them
You
used
mean a down lineman? Yes.
the high school kids getting drunk, laying on a highway, and allowing cars to drive over them. That was something that kids were actually starting to do because of that.
They
movie.
took it out of the movie. Like I've never seen the movie. I've never seen the version of the movie with that scene. They took it out.
Became an 80s cliche, hiding under public transit. Who can forget the Lost Boys? Clinging to that train track as a train roared overhead. Fly with us, Michael.
It's a great movie. Boy, you're on a roll this morning, man.
Do you think we wouldn't get consensus? I guess we wouldn't in the room. Roy, do you have a nominee for what it is that you would think is the best football movie ever made? Because these guys are selecting from the discount bin of slop because they are
You're
picking
nuts.
all of you. I mean,
Slop?
you cannot
How are
say
you
Varsity
calling
Blues.
Remember the Titans?
you-
He's trying to be provocative
Are you
today.
crazy?
Varsity Blues cannot be
a great
one of
movie.
the great football.
This is worse than your Fernando Mendoza take.
Yeah, he's calling blockers ahead of him as Foo Fighters plays off in the distance. Yeah, it's a great movie.
North Dallas 40.
80 for Brady.
Remember the Titans was not slop, and I will give you that. Remember the Titans was a good movie, not just a good football movie.
But the last play takes it out of great.
Despite its ending, but I'm with Zaslow on this. The last play I believe I yelled at Denzel Washington about that can't be that was on the air. I think that can't be the way that game ends. You cannot fool the legendary district coach because all he's doing is yelling, "Watch for the deep pass." Watch for the deep pass. They got no time left. They got to go 80 yards. And the legendary district coach is yelling, you got to look out for the deep pass. And then they trick him with a double reverse.
It's so bad.
You know what prevent defense does, Dan? Prevents you from winning.
He didn't account for Rev as a blocker. Come on.
Okay, we have the program.
Oh,
we have Friday Night Lights. We have Remember the Titans.
80 for Brady.
You can't give me two more? To
Varsity
complete
Blues.
How do you like that jambalaya?
All right, I'm going to put all of these on the poll, though.
It was bad.
I mean, Little Giants. Come on.
I'm going to give you Friday Night Lights, and I'm going to give you Remember the Titans, but it's all I'm going to give you from among everything that we have mentioned here. Now, the original Longest Yard needs to go up there, and I think North Dallas 40 does too, but I think North Dallas 40 would also have a hard time holding up. I have a hard time with any movies outside of basically The Godfather from the 70s holding up.
Does Jerry Maguire count in this situation?
No.
It's half the movie.
Put it on the poll. Does Jerry Maguire count as a football movie? Because I think it has to count as a football movie, and it's a good selection. I think that you've done well. I put Jerry Maguire. That would get us to 5 if we're willing to count all of that and not disqualify Remember the Titans because of that last play.
Dan, the program is 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, man.
And?
Hey, you're wrong. It's a good movie.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Was the program a good movie? I was objecting more to Varsity Blues than I was.
Come on, Jon Voight as the coach, Dan.
I don't want your life.
I don't get strokes, mother bleeper. I give them.
I'm going to argue that Jon Voight has never been in a good movie. I think I have this
Man,
wrong.
He was in Heat.
Yeah, he was in Heat.
He was in Heat.
Was he?
Deliverance, come on.
Midnight
Was
Cowboy?
he?
He's
Yeah,
the financer in
with
Heat.
a ponytail. Was he in Heat?
He was in Holes.
Did someone yell Anaconda at me?
Yeah.
They're remaking Anaconda, aren't they?
Yeah, it was already out.
Who are they making?
Critical flop.
Who are they remaking?
It was with
Jack
Jack Black
Black
and Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
But it's a comedy.
But Steve Zahn is in it, and he was in the original. How about that? Wow.
How about that?
How's that?
I think, was Jon Voight in one of the Beverly Hills Cops? I think he was in the second Beverly Hills Cop.
No, he's
No.
not in Beverly Hills Cop, Dan.
Are you sure?
No.
I
No.
think-
Trust me, I've seen all 4 of them. He wasn't in.
I think.
National Treasure,
Weren't
Dan?
there a couple of biker guys trying to kill Eddie Murphy who answered to Jon Voight in one of the Beverly Hills Cops? Because I think.
There were bikers in another 48 Hours.
Okay, that's the movie I'm thinking of Jon Voight. So I'll give Jon Voight that.
Bad
one.
hour for you, man.
You think? Because I've forgotten all of Jon Voight's good roles, and somebody shouted Anaconda at me when he got spit up by a giant snake and then winked at it while covered in fluid. That's the one that you guys are talking about. He was on his knees, got spit out by a giant snake, and then he wasn't quite dead, winked, and then died.
He's a showman.
There's 6 inches in front of your face.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. If you were watching football for the first time yesterday, do you think that you would say those 4 teams were playing the same sport? That those 2 games were the same sport? I had that weird thought yesterday, absent context. If you didn't know what jogging and marathoning was, because the Miami Marathon sort of shut down all of Miami Sunday morning where you couldn't get anywhere because you had thousands of people who have flown in from all over running down the street. And if you didn't know what marathons were, you'd just think that a bunch of people were being chased by something giant. It starts off with the Kenyans are in front of everybody, and then the incredibly fit, obsessive people, and then it's, a guy dressed as Batman is running through the streets. But you would be confused by I couldn't walk my dog across Ocean Drive because you couldn't get across the street at any point with a patch of opening between the sheer number of people who were running through our city in one of the few places in the United States that you could run yesterday, given the weather.
It's a beautiful marathon. My wife did it a couple of years ago. She did the half, not the full. But she told me once you get down to MacArthur, it's basically a straight shot where you're in the water and you're on the beach, and it's awesome. But, yeah, I would never do that.
At Le Batard Show as well, put this on the poll. These are the 5 I'm nominating on football movies. You tell me if I'm missing.
Varsity Blues better
you
be in
guys
there.
want to put Varsity Blues in the program in here. I think the 5 best we've got are Friday Night Lights, Remember the Titans, Jerry Maguire, North Dallas 40, and the original Longest Yard.
You're counting Jerry Maguire? I object to that.
How are you objecting to
It's
that?
not a football movie.
But it is a. What do you mean it's
Is
not?
Last Boy Scout a football movie?
When there was somebody on the field breaking through on a touchdown, shooting people with a gun they pulled from their pants? No, that's not a football movie.
Is Radio a football movie?
That's offensive by you. That is just Cuba
Is it a
Gooding.
football
That
movie?
is Cuba Gooding Jr. just trying to win an Oscar and going too far. And I believe Robert Downey Jr. warned Ben Stiller about this in Tropic Thunder. You can't do what Cuba Gooding Jr. trying to win an Oscar did.
Okay, I have a couple for you that we've left out that definitely are on that list. Not that they're better movies than Jerry Maguire. I object to Jerry Maguire being a football movie. Number one, Rudy. Rudy's a great movie. Come on, what are we doing?
Is it?
I know we don't like Notre Dame, but Rudy's a great movie.
I don't know
Come
if
on.
Rudy's a great movie.
What's the matter with you?
Boring.
Number two, and I'm sorry, I refuse to hear any kind of pushback. You know about that Sonny Weaver Jr.?
Go ahead and put Rudy on there as well. Just put those movies up there and have people pick from among
Draft
them.
Day, Dan? Draft Day?
No, you are not doing that.
He got all his picks
Kevin
back.
Costner in Draft Day is not a great movie.
Sonny Weaver got all of his picks back. Why? Because he felt like it.
You're disqualified from talking about great football movies.
What a movie.
Dark Knight Rises?
Amin is right about you and your questionable movie
What a movie.
judgment. Can we get up and forgive me, audio audience, for doing this to you, but I suggest you look this up on the internet if you have not seen it. Can we put Craig Berube, the Toronto Maple Leafs coach, up on the screen? And he says he had a weight room accident, and I just don't know how he was lifting weights. I want you guys to help me. This scar looks like something out of the movie Saw. If I told you that this person was out of the movie Saw and had been tortured in the movie, I'm going to try to explain this to the audio audience, okay? There's a lot of forehead on this man. He has the tremendous cul-de-sac that makes his hair start at the top of his skull, okay? The very top of his skull, the middle of his skull is where his hair starts. And right before that hair starts, he has a parabola, an injury that runs basically from one eyebrow to the other, a rainbow of blood, a scar that seems impossible. I don't even know what happened to him in the weight room. Do you guys have any theories? Did a weight fall on his head?
Nothing happened in a weight room.
You think he's lying about what the injury is?
Zaz, you know about that WrestleMania 9?
Oh, of course.
You remember
Caesar's Palace.
Yes, Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Tag teaming.
Yeah. Against
Hulk
Money
Hogan,
Inc.
Hulk Hogan shows up, his face all jacked up.
Black eye, macho.
You know what they told us?
Macho punched him in the eye.
But you know what they told us?
What?
A gym accident.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't Jim accident, Dan.
Okay, so what do you guys have happening here? You guys don't believe it's a gym accident. You believe that he's lying.
Correct, because of WrestleMania 9.
I thought this of Pat Riley once. I remember Pat Riley showed up for a morning press conference when he was coaching the Heat, and he had a giant scar on the top of his head, and he said he got it swimming. And I'm like, that's not true. That can't be true. Something else had to have happened there. There's no way that you would get that giant scar on your face from swimming. Okay, so you guys believe Craig Berube to be a liar here. Tell me what happened to him. Do you think that someone cut him with some sort of utensil that cuts in parabolas?
In an upside down smile?
I mean, I think that Jigsaw got a hold of him.
The
and
Joker,
he was
maybe?
in one of the saw traps.
He had a key in his frontal lobe. He had to cut it open with a...
This is what it would look like if Home Alone were more realistic.
Listen, I'm not going to call somebody who's a liar who happens to be 7th all-time in penalty minutes in league history.
Yeah.
You don't want to get
that
on his bad
smoke.
side.
That's right. Thank you, Roy.
You want the honest answer? Skull Crusher. You ever done those, Dan?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Thank
well, you know when you got a real heavy, you got a real heavy skull crusher. You're like, I hope this doesn't crush my skull. And then all of a sudden,
The scar doesn't really make sense, though.
You guys think he's lying? That you guys are officially
I
on
know
the-
he's lying.
You know he's lying.
I know he's lying.
Well, you said it, not me.
I'm not going to call him a liar.
Whatever,
I'm
I just
saying
did. Who cares? What's Craig Berube going to do?
WrestleMania 9.
The chief.
He's 7th in penalty minutes of all time. What do you mean is what is he going to do?
So what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What's Craig Berube? Hey, Craig Berube, I think you're lying. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Do nothing. Who cares? Penalty minutes. Sucker. Lose the Panthers again. Craig Berube.
Did you just try to make the camera flinch by just
Well, maybe he's watching.
by thrusting an eyebrow toward the camera? That's what you just did. You did it again. Okay. Very good. Threatening. I had another incident this weekend with people who will not take my cash. I continue to get more and more upset about this. George Sedano misrepresented me last week when he shouted. He said I was shouting in a carport, "This is America, Jack." I didn't say Jack when Valet wouldn't take my cash money. I did not say this is America either. I said that in America, cash is still good. Cash, for now, cash is still good in America. And I evidently sounded just like this guy. We have played this sound before, but I cannot get enough of this sound. That I can't believe that I am now this person.
I'm going to buy some strawberries, and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here on the help desk. So you people take that money, £1.90, and I will take my strawberries outside.
You can't take that.
Call the police.
You can't take that. The police is on their way. You can't take that. Police is on their way. You can't take that.
I paid by legal tender.
No. Don't break the law. Do not break the law.
I paid by legal tender, and I am going out with my strawberries. And I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
Yeah, hero.
I feel like I should be applauded when I do things like this. Again, when I talk about the normalization of things, okay, the thing that pissed me off the first time, and I think this is a reasonable thing to piss me off, you don't have parking. You do not allow me to park my own car because you don't have a place that has parking. Therefore, I must pay you whatever you decide to go take my car somewhere. And in this case, it's $16, which is cheaper than it is in most places in Miami. This is a grift of the highest order. A giant business has formed around your ability to just steal my money because you don't have parking that allows me to park my own car. How have we gotten used to this? And how have we gotten used to the combination of this and you won't take my cash when I try to give it to you? My cash is no good. I have to give you my information so somebody who's an employee for 2 days will have my credit card information now. This is the way the transaction works. How much of this am I supposed to eat before I get upset about this?
So, Dan, you drive up to the valet and you're like, all right, I'm going to valet my car here. I'm going to this spot. And they told you, okay, great, but you can only use card. There's no cash.
They didn't tell me that beforehand.
Okay, so you drop off your car. You think everything's good. You go to pay. You take out a nice crisp 20. You give the guy a 20, nice little $4 tip. Everybody's happy. And he said, I can't take this.
That's right.
And he said, only card.
That's correct.
That guy's an idiot.
You've got no, but that's and then he gets his manager, and I've got to give you all my information now too. It's not just that you have to rip. It's not just that you rip me off with the parking, and this is now normal. And it's not just that you won't take my cash. Now you also get to use my credit card. Mike will tell you what bull it is to have your identity stolen by somebody, and what a headache it is to get your.
It's the bull.
That's the bull.
That's the bull.
The bullshit happened to you?
The bullshit has happened to me.
And how annoying is that to try and clear all that up when somebody has just used your credit card information? And look, man.
Oh, file taxes has me. It was just a nightmare for like several years. Whoa. But now it happens so often that it's a lot easier. But I had it when you didn't want it.
Wow.
I still don't think that you want any of that. By the way, if you found me annoying, as you often do and did in the first 2 hours of the show, this hour is going to be even more annoying because Carl Douglas, our legal expert, is going to join us. We haven't talked to him in a while. And what we're going to talk to him about is some of the other un-American things that are happening now in Minnesota, where we have protesters running the risk of being shot by fake police because we're okay with Donald Trump's unqualified state militia, not only killing protesters and then sending out an assortment of disinformation that puts a family that's already grieving into the position of feeling like someone who's already a victim is going to be vilified with an assortment of things that aren't facts as the government behaves in a way that feels like disinformation and propaganda and lies. And I will tell you, as someone who has only borrowed from my parents and grandparents all the stories about what it feels like to have your freedom taken away. That the stories that my family told about how communism crept into freedom and took away rights so that Cuba is the rotting island that you see today, it begins with giving power to people who shouldn't have it and who really like having that power, unqualified people. So if normal police officers are doing a job that's so difficult that very often tragedies arise all the time, injustices and brutalities, because you have police officers who are armed who are also afraid. And therefore you get into situations where police officers do wrong things. Police officers who, as is, are often unqualified because it's a very hard job to be qualified for. To put more of them in the streets and give them power and give them arms and then defend them when they do the wrong thing and then tell us that our eyes are lying to us and then get subsequent video that shows, our eyes were not lying to us. The government is lying to us in defense of fake police. We're going to talk about this with Carl Douglas because it's super weird among all the weird things happening in America now to see this happening in Minnesota. It's like one of the whitest places in the world. You should be safe protesting there. You should not be a family begging your governor, please tell the story of our son. Please tell people that he was good, that he was a nurse, that he was trying to do the right things. They canceled when the first time this happened. This happened a mile away from the last time it happened. It's just, I'm telling you, it's really weird to see the city of George Floyd now 5 years later. This is a super white city. To see Minnesota descend into something where it's not safe to protest because you cannot trust that your government is going to tell the truth about what it is that's happened in the streets. And you have to be thankful for the fact that everyone's got a camera phone now, because the only difference between the horror stories that my grandparents and my parents tell about the falling of freedom is that we now have the video that tells us the truth so that everyone can be properly outraged by things that I'm going to say that even though we can't get consensus on just about anything and people are divided along political lines, I think we have reached a breaking point where Americans are looking at something and saying, yeah, that's not right. That's not what this country is supposed to be in terms of freedom, that you are protesting peacefully and you do have a right to bear arms. And we just saw a video that shows that this person was shot after he was any kind of threat, even though he was armed. These people are not qualified to be doing the job that they're doing. Cubans in Florida are being deported at a rate that is record high. In Florida because of the vilifying of brown people and black people. But now we're killing innocent white people. And that seems to be at least something of a breaking point for Americans where they're like, yeah, this isn't okay. You can't have people who aren't qualified to do this job acting in a way that is criminal.
Yeah, I think the big thing that I keep coming back to and that I hope people can understand is, like, it's not too late to change your mind. It's not too late to look at this and maybe have advocated for it before and think immigration policy is one thing and say, no, like, this has gone too far. And we can disagree about a whole bunch of different stuff. It could be immigration policy. It could be queer inclusion. It could be taxes. It could be anything. We can have those debates another day. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to dig your heels in on this one, no matter how annoying you might find me or Dan or anyone on this side of the aisle. I don't think that even if you find someone annoying, you should think that it's okay for them to be gunned down in the street by a secret police. Not me, not an immigrant, not you, not anybody. And to me, this is like evolved really far beyond immigration enforcement. Like, this is just about fear, intimidation, and you can see what's happening. Like, right in front of your eyes, there's video. It's all being laid out in front of you. It's why this regime and any fascist regime would really love AI, because it can blur the lines between what reality is and isn't. But you don't have to stay steadfast on your side in this one. Like, it's okay to change your mind. Nobody's going to judge you. Whether you hear the words of Renee Good and Alex Preddy at the end of their lives, and it's, hey, are you okay, is what Alex Preddy's last words were. And Renee Good's last words are, I'm not mad at you, man. I'm not mad at you, dude. And yet you have officers who their next words are effing B and boo-hoo to a group of protesters nearby. Like, this is a space where the people in charge are no longer in favor of the people. You literally have the Secretary of Defense tweeting ICE > Minnesota. Like, that is not the space that any of us want to be in. And it's okay for you to wonder, like, what would I do if these people came to my town, and which side would I want to be on? So you don't have to accept it. Like, you can decide enough is enough and change your mind on this.
And keep in mind how this all started. They blamed Somalis. But in actuality, the state of Minnesota voted against Donald Trump in the 3 elections that he was in. So really, this is just President Trump being vindictive and going after the state.
Carl Douglas has represented everyone from Tupac to O.J. Simpson. He's on today because he's shaken, as are we, by what he's seeing happen in this country. For those of you who do not know, he mentioned the name Alex Preddy, a federal immigration officer killed Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old intensive care unit nurse. He was protesting a mile away from where Renee Good was shot. Carl, thank you for joining us. What do you make of what it is that you have seen happen over the last month? And it's nice to see you again, even under the circumstances.
Dan, it's always a pleasure being with you and your team. What I've seen over the last month is consistent with what I've seen over the last 45 years of representing families like Renee Good and Alex Preddy, who have been victimized by law enforcement. Let me start by saying, Dan, being a cop is tough, but not everyone is good at it. I've had cases of people being shot behind the steering wheels. I've had cases of people being injured during protests. I've had trials last year and the year before in Los Angeles from protesters who've been injured. I know that every state in America has an organization called POST, Peace Officers Standards and Training, and there's a training program for POST in every state. That training program is 6 months long. By comparison, the training program of ICE is 42 days. It is not possible for even the best trained post officers to deal with the stress and the tension that comes when American protesters are against you. Cops are human too. They lose their tempers. They don't like ICE. They don't like having their evenings disrupted because there are people with whistles outside of their hotel in a foreign city. So tensions are tough. And when there is the kind of rhetoric that we see from Washington, blindly supporting whatever they do, however outrageous it is, it emboldens them. It's in that context where there's already tension, where every moment of their professional lives, they're being the subject of this backlash that emboldens them to be more aggressive. Alex Preddy, as you and your listeners, I'm sure, knows, was unarmed when he was shot. An officer had removed whatever weapons he lawfully carried when he was shot. Renee Good was trying to get away when she was shot, and there were 2 shots fired in the side of the window of her open driver's side door as she was past the officer, and he was no longer in threat. Officers are not trained to simply fire until they're out of bullets. They're trained to fire only when they are confronted with an imminent threat. And in the case of Alex Pretty, 10 shots after he was unarmed is clearly excessive. But when you have ICE officials coming out within minutes of the shooting, calling the victims domestic terrorists, that emboldens the cops. When you have protesters that are continuing to be vocal, that emboldens the cops, and it raises the tension. So Dan, regrettably, I hope you have me on your show again. This is going to happen again. It may not be in Minneapolis. It may be in Boston. It may be in Chicago. It may be in Detroit. But when you have marauders who are not uniformed, driving common-looking SUVs, riding 6 deep, it will continue to foster a circumstance when other lesser-trained officers are going to be afraid, frightened, and emboldened, and there will be more citizens killed.
The vice president said that the officer that shot Renee Good was, quote unquote, protected by absolute immunity. Is that true?
There's no absolute immunity if you use force unreasonably. And it is so terrible, Roy, that they're not even investigating the conduct of the officer in the Renee Good setting. There's a universal thought among law enforcement that shooting at moving vehicles are discouraged, especially or unless there is some deadly threat separate from the vehicle itself. Because shooting a gun is reckless, man. It's not like you see on television. You're shooting all over the place. And innocent people can be injured by the stray bullets, and often are. So there are universal trainings over the course of your 6 months, not just 42 days, that you never shoot at a moving vehicle. You get your butt out of the way. And clearly, with Renee Good, 2 of the shots went through the open driver's side window. I'm sure she was shot in the head. And it's terrible that after the shootings, they simply allow the bodies to lay there and bleed out. They prevented doctors who were present in each instance, healthcare providers, to come to the scene to try to give aid to the fallen victims. That shows how there's now a warrior mentality, us versus them. They are the bad guys, we are the good guys. And that warrior mentality is at the basis of most uses of unreasonable force, that coupled with fear. Because cops are people too, and cops are afraid. And when they are emboldened, what they'll do first is draw on their weapons or use their force. You saw how Pretty was pepper sprayed right in the face because he came to the aid of another innocent protester, a woman who had been pushed down. You saw how 6 cops pounded on him immediately, not knowing what he had done, simply because he was in the way. That is the attitude and the culture that all Americans should stand up against. And Dan, most of my clients look like me. Some of my clients look like you, but few of my clients look like Renee Good and Alex Pretty. So hopefully this is a wake-up call for your listeners, but for the grace of God, any of you can be victimized by these lawless enforcement agents.
Beyond that, when people say I don't live in Minneapolis or a city facing ICE raids or mass protests, why should I care? Why should they care beyond what you just said?
Because we are a nation of humanity. We're different. We're special. And that's just not a saying. That's just not rhetoric. There has to be some substance to those ideals that we Americans hold dear. That's why it's so very important, even if you don't live in Minneapolis, that you have to make your voices heard and protest.
For those who survive these encounters with ICE, what are their legal recourses that they can use?
It is very difficult when you sue an agency of the federal government. You have to sue them, Roy, in federal court. When you sue a federal governmental agency in federal court, there's not a right to a jury. So everyone who is victimized who sues in federal court has a judge trial. When there's a judge trial rather than a jury trial, sometimes the public interest is not always reflected in the verdict. Sometimes the public outrage is not always reflected in the rulings. That's why we trial lawyers prefer having our cases heard by normal citizens. We're one of the few countries on earth, Roy, that has citizen juries deciding acts of wrongful death against our authorities. England has defamation. Some countries have a couple of causes of action. But only in America can the people reflect the outrage of the moment by their voices in a jury. That's why it's so very important.
How do you feel about the White House or Homeland Security trying to portray victims as dangerous terrorists, the justifying of these killings? Because I was mentioning it's one thing to just have the horror of the grief of, what do you mean I've lost my son? But then to watch what happens immediately next as your son or daughter is vilified and turned into someone dangerous or terrorist by political propaganda makes something that's already the worst even worse.
Dan, it is their playbook that they are using almost automatically within minutes, if not hours of a tragedy. And there will be others. They are labeled domestic terrorists, which is such an outrageous insult, but it reflects the partisanship, regrettably, that has so engulfed our country. The fact that the political leanings of a particular state or a city is the basis for focus is outrageous, is un-American. The last time I looked, the president is the president of all of us. And until President 45, they always embraced that notion. Even if you didn't vote for me, I'm your president. I want to work for you. Until that attitude, that foundational notion changes. In 2.5 years, I fear more of this blaming the victim is going to be part of the official discourse.
Everyone's obviously shocked and appalled by the shooting happening. I think Minneapolis police said they have had like 900 consecutive instances in which they've had to disarm someone, and they've always done so without shooting any shots. But for me, almost equally troubling is the lead up to this man being shot. He is on the side of the street with his cell phone protesting what seems to be obviously understandable and peacefully. And ICE agents stop their car. They get out. They lay their hands on another protester. He stands in between, still recording them. He gets taken down by approximately 7 officers. He is disarmed and then shot to death. What I imagine more people, even though it seems even more dangerous now, are going to be compelled to go out and protest. He seemed to have been doing things by the book in terms of peacefully protesting, and he ended up dead. if people in our audience are moved to go out and protest and they find themselves in a situation that is quickly accelerating and getting out of hand, what advice would you give them?
Mike, I'm the father of a 31-year-old black son. Every father of young black men have had the conversations with their children. Your number one job is to get home at the end of the day. Your job is not to enforce or to emphasize, particularly to a nervous officer, how you are in the right, especially in these times. I tell my kids, make sure you leave your hands so they can see them when they stop you in your car. I tell my son, make sure you tell him what you're gonna do before you do it. I'm reaching into my glove box to get my registration like you've asked. Is that okay with you? It's regrettable, tragic, un-American that everyone should sit down and have conversations with their children, with their family, with their friends, if they are considering the risky nature now of exercising your First Amendment rights to protest, because the administration watches and listens and reacts to the polls. The polls are terrible against the Renee Good shooting and only are going to increase more, but only until the rhetoric is reduced will there be any true salvation. And regrettably, you're going to have me on again to talk about another travesty until people in charge begin to listen.
We have only a couple of minutes left, but you mentioned that very few of your clients look like Renee Good or Alex Preddy. Do you see anything shifting with the idea that these people look different than what is normally at the bottom end of these kinds of injustices? Do you see a shift anywhere in America happening?
Dan, as I've always told you, it is a roller coaster of public opinion. George Floyd, things were in favor of police reform. 2 years later, those sentiments waned, and we came to this. It always goes up or down. There's going to be some police officer who is injured, and public opinion is going to change again. The more things change, the more they remain the same. But only through exercising your rights is there any hope of a respite. But it goes up and down over the years, probably for eternity.
Carl, I'm wondering your thoughts on Second Amendment advocates in this situation, because Alex Preddy was called a domestic terrorist for having a gun, and they said, you don't bring a gun to a peaceful protest, but he was registered to carry in Minnesota where you can do so, and yet this seems to be the general perception where it seems like only the right people can be carrying a gun. What are your thoughts on the Second Amendment folks sort of backing away from this situation?
Well, Jeremy, interestingly, I saw this morning that the NRA came against those that are attacking Alex Preddy simply because he was exercising his rights to own a gun. So there's going to be some twisted analysis going on here, because the right doesn't quite understand or sure where they're going to stand. You can't talk about the Supreme Court broadening rights of states to legalize the possession of guns, yet at the same time castigate someone who was exercising their rights. I don't have a gun. I'm scared of guns. But certainly you can't have it both ways, and people on the right are trying to.
Carl, thank you, sir. I would say that it's nice seeing you. It usually is, but this is always the subject matter, and it's eternally depressing. So thank you for making the time for us early on the West Coast, sir.
Dan, always a pleasure. Please have me back.
Thank you, sir. empirically, this is the most improbable Super Bowl matchup there has ever been, correct? There have never been two teams at worse than 60-1 odds to start a season playing in a Super Bowl. The Pats were 80-1 before the season started. Seattle was 60-1 before the season started. I still don't trust the Patriots. Their schedule, getting to play the Dolphins, the Jets, and the minor league division of Carolina and Tampa Bay and the Saints. That is a rare path to the Super Bowl where you're in the Super Bowl and you haven't played anybody, or you've played teams that you were lucky to play against because you're going to Denver and you're playing a quarterback who does what Stidham did on that play.
And there's a chance that they go to the Super Bowl and then Sam Darnold turns into a pumpkin again, and they go throughout the Super Bowl playing nobody.
But we should have known that the Seahawks were going to make it, because this is the third straight time that when a new pope was elected, the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl as a number 1 seed.
I mean, the first Super Bowl that the Patriots won, Patriots-Rams, was crazy unlikely as well.
It was crazy unlikely, but that was the greatest show on turf. Once we saw that season play out, we didn't question Kurt Warner the entirety of the season the way we've been questioning Sam Darnold. I don't think we can say that Sam Darnold's going to turn into a pumpkin again. I don't think that that's a reasonable expectation. He just beat the only team he actually throws the interceptions against over the last 2 years.
Well, and he was, the number 3 overall pick in the draft? Like, literally, this is what he's supposed to be. Right?
Right, just took him a decade to do it.
And 5 teams. Amin Al-Hassan is there, and he is ready to get to his weekend observations. I also want to talk to him about an assortment of things going on in basketball, because the Giannis stuff is really interesting. I just don't understand how the Bucks are that bad with Giannis on their team. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The team around them sucks.
Yeah, but still, if you have Giannis throughout the course of history, if you have that player, you're not 7 games under 500.
You see who their coach is?
Okay, we'll get to Amin in a second. Yeah, he did get me. He cornered me on that. Is Doc there? Is it too early on the West Coast for Doc to be there? Is that too much of a test? What do you say, Doc Rivers, to what it is that Zaslow is saying where he got me, because the Bucks have a bad coach?
Well, first of all, glad to be on the show. Last I checked, I'm on the top 15 coaches of all time list. And Zaz is nowhere near the top 1,500 of radio hosts.
Whoa.
Definitely. And he doesn't even rank as far as movie experts or lovers of football either. So I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Does Doc Rivers have any additions to our greatest football movies list?
As a matter of fact, he does. First of all, how can we not name the replacements? Gene Hackman as the old coach. Shane Falco came back.
Doc's got a point.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is The Replacements one of the top 5 football movies of all time? Are you in agreement with me that there have not been 5 great football movies made throughout the history of cinema?
Oh, no, I disagree wholeheartedly. First of all, the slander by Any Given Sunday. Woof. Oh, I mean, what are you guys talking about? That's one of the great movies. And also, Two Americas. None of you guys got the LL Cool J, J.B. Fox fight right. I mean,
what do you mean?
I'll tell you what, it wasn't JB's fault. It wasn't.
Well, wait a minute. Jeremy was just reading.
Word for word.
He was just reading straight from the internet. What do you mean he didn't get it right? What did he get wrong?
Reading straight from the internet. When's that ever led anyone astray?
Read articles, not the AI.
Christy Noem has read some things on the internet too, you know.
Oh, what did he get wrong? That's fine. You accused him of getting things wrong. What did he get wrong?
Can I do this in my regular voice?
Yeah, I've been waiting for that since the first question,
actually. God. You guys kept asking Doc Rivers questions. I'm like, all right, I guess I got to answer
Zaz did ask Doc questions.
It is. Oh, weirdly, he asked Doc a football movie question. I don't know why he did that.
Boy, he's not coaching. He's probably home watching movies instead of practicing. What do you expect?
He is coaching. He's
playing golf. Jamie and LL Cool J are doing the scene, and LL Cool J is unnecessarily intense, and JB doesn't know what's happening. He's like, he's a really good actor. I think he wants to kick my ass. That's how it started. JB didn't punch him first.
That's exactly what I said.
No, that's not what you said. You said Jamie punched him. And then
No, I said
punched him
LL
back.
Cool J back-to-back scenes was being overly aggressive, so Jamie Foxx ends up punching him, and then LL Cool J takes his helmet, punches underneath, knocks him out. I said all of that word for word.
You said that, first of all, you said that Jamie was aggressive. Maybe you misread it or misspoke in the moment, but you said Jamie was being aggressive. Second of all, you said that Jamie punched first.
I think we
Those are
should get
two
bogged
things.
down in it.
Yeah, I think some more. That'd be good.
Well, you guys asked.
Yeah, well, you brought it up first, and then it begged the follow-up question because you said somebody got something wrong, and now here we are. Time now for Amin's weekend observations. Do them all as Doc Rivers' as punishment.
Absolutely not.
It is time for
Amin.
to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy.
Amin.
Weekend Observations is brought to you by Miller Lite. Legendary moments start with a light. You know what? I'll do that part in Doc's voice.
Weekend Observations is brought to you by Miller Lite. Legendary moments start with a light, and it's never Blake's fault.
Dan, the stage is set. The card has been finalized, and the last two teams that you gushed about and had celebrity correspondence for have been eliminated. Now we have the rematch that Mina Kimes, Marshawn Lynch, and the entire Pacific Northwest have been aching for. Don't need no checkdowns. Super Bowl LX. It's crazy to think that this was all made possible by a former Jets bust and Luke May's little brother. You guys remember Luke May?
Big shot.
Big man on campus. North Carolina? Luke May? That was the guy. Drake May? His little brother. Who's laughing now? Jarrett Stidham. Not to be confused with Jason Statham, as Dan did last week. Turned back into a pumpkin at around 6 p.m. Eastern, the Lord's time zone. I love people complaining about the snow impacting the game as though it favored one side over the other. They both played in the snow. Also, I wore a jacket yesterday. It was 68 degrees. Oh, chilly. You guys getting that cold front down there?
We're going to get a little cold front on the weekend. It's going to be 50.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Hey, can we talk about how the Rams lost to a team that had Bart from How High as their quarterback? It's the part where the picture comes up.
Did you give them a picture to put up, or you just expect?
No, I guessed that they would read my mind, Dan, and know that, he's probably going to mention Bart from How High.
There it is.
Oh, hey, guys, good job. Is that not?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's the plume of hair in the front is something they both do well.
How high is
the jaw? The jaw also. Puka and JSN. A battle for the ages. Puka and JSN. Two names that make white liberals uncomfortable for very different reasons.
Is the nickname JSN because people are afraid of saying his last name? Is that
He's got a long name, you know.
Aaron Andrews postgame yesterday called him Jackson SN.
I didn't see that for real.
It's so strange.
I've never seen last name
scared,
initial.
But to be scared of the Smith is also something that's interesting.
Think about it this way. Have you ever heard anyone say JSS for Juju Smith-Schuster? No, we said it's a long name. We said it.
Yeah, point.
Dominic Rogers Cromartie. We said that whole last name.
No, we used to say DRC.
Yeah, but JSS is actually a cool nickname. JSN is just you're cheating and you're scared.
Do you remember when everyone was gushing over Tony Romo? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Oh, you guys couldn't get enough Tony Romo. Oh, he's so smart. Oh, how did he know what play was? Oh, Tony Romo's the best. Oh, where have you been all my life, Tony? Now everyone's like, oh, Tony Romo sucks. Tom Brady, he's awesome. Give it a couple of years.
WrestleMania 13, Mike.
You'll hate him too. Is Fernando Mendoza's brother any good? I'm asking. I need to know.
He runs.
Nobody knows.
He runs.
I mean, he entered the portal after his brother did something that can't be eclipsed. I have no idea if he wants to get out of his brother's shadow or he's no good. I do know that there are thousands of people in the portal who will never play again.
Word is he's going to Georgia Tech, so that's why
it's a good spot for him.
Yeah. Cinephobe episode 297, National Lampoon's Van Wilder, starring Ryan Reynolds, Tara Reid, Cal Penn, Aaron Paul, Bud from The Cosby Show, and Tech from Real World Hawaii. That movie was based off the real-life exploits of comedian Bert Kreischer. Yeah, Tech from Real World Hawaii. You guys remember
Tag
him?
money.
Of course.
Yeah. Ruthie was my favorite on Real World Hawaii. She was on that.
Ruthie was Tupac. Do you remember those rumors? The internet special.
She was.
Since
She
its
had that look.
inception.
All she needed was just a little bandana.
There was a whole thing.
Cal Penn took the role of a stereotypical Indian because he learned if he didn't, the role was going to go to a white actor in brownface. Fun fact, Dan. They hired him a dialect coach to perfect the Indian accent. The dialect coach was a white woman. Cal Penn speaks Gujarati. She does not. Imagine that. Cinephobe, wherever you get podcasts. You guys remember when everyone was gushing over the Oklahoma City Thunder? Oh my God, it's the greatest team ever. They're better than the Warriors were that won 73 games. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
They lost to Toronto last night. Zaz said they were going to win 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys see that when Lou Dort tried to block Sandro Mamukelashvili and he landed on him? It was nuts. It was nuts.
That was nuts.
Got it, yeah. Got that the first
Tried to
time.
flex, by the way, on Mamu's full name. I didn't like that.
No. If I said Mamu, I was worried that Dan was going to say, Manu's playing basketball again? And like, no. Oh, Manu from what are you, Hialeah or whatever? Like, no, not that one. And so I said full name. The audience. I'm trying to do it for the audience. Can we talk about how the Rams lost to a team that had Johnny Worthington III from Monsters University as their quarterback?
There it is. Video. There it is.
Tell me that jaw isn't his.
It's the tuft of hair. Again, you're doing it with the tuft of hair instead of the jaw.
The jaw. It's the jaw. Zaz thinks Mike McDonald has a little D. When asked about it, McDonald scoffed and said, "What a fool believes." What a fool believes.
I think Mike McDonald is right here. I think I haven't heard Mike McDonald in a long time.
I've been workshopping. Be ready next week.
Oh, really?
Perhaps,
we're gonna
perhaps a new bit, or I'll keep forgetting.
This is very exciting. And the idea that we're going to break out Mike McDonald again because Seattle's
a chorus.
Can we talk about how the Rams lost to a team that had a human Lego as their quarterback? Tell me that's not him.
It is him.
Needs a ginger hair, though.
We need to change the hair. Can we
Yeah.
color the hair? Does the telestrator have colors on it? No, the telestrator just the.
Ask Edge and James.
Let me see if I can find that.
Do what now?
I hereby nominate Dan as NFL commissioner. We'll fix the sport with 2 words, Dan. Game 7. Oh, my God. Can you imagine a Game 7 in the Super Bowl? Oh my God. The ratings would be like 8 billion. How many people are on Earth? That's how many people be watching.
The Super Bowl lasting for 2 months?
Yes. Who would object?
You know what? You got me.
Everyone will be injured by the end of it.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw a conference championship game where Jared Stidham threw the ball backwards. Like, that got the Patriots to the Super Bowl because an incompetent quarterback, starting his 5th game ever, threw the ball backward.
Dan thinks the Rams are the better team. When Mike McDonald heard that, he shook his head in disappointment and said, I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. I can't do the voices.
No, you cannot.
No, I can't do it.
I keep forgetting.
Do we need any more proof that Zaz is neither a football guy nor a movie guy? He's smirching any given Sunday? You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
You're off base.
Yeah, here's a note that I already gave away. The show's never been wider than getting the Jamie Foxx LL Cool J fight details completely wrong. Here's the science, a bar rescue podcast. We break down episodes of Bar Rescue with Chelsea Reynolds, a restaurant bar consultant. Colin Cassard, a commercial kitchen and food truck veteran.
You want to try that again?
Well said.
Colin Cassard, a commercial kitchen and food truck veteran. And functional alcoholic Zach Harper and me. Here's the science, wherever you get podcasts. Please like, subscribe, rate, review, etc., etc. The Steelers hired Mike McCarthy. On purpose? The hell they doing? Speaking of hell, Art Briles.
Stunner to have 2 ice-related jokes in the middle of weekend observations and edginess I was not expecting on this Monday morning from Amin.
Dan, I was inspired. I watched the Mel Brooks documentary with my dad yesterday.
Judd Apatow makes good documentaries. I assume that that's excellent.
It's excellent. It's excellent because Mel Brooks has an uncommon amount of archival footage throughout history, going back to him working with Sid Caesar. And it reminded me a lot of, for different reasons, but in that way, of the Motown documentary. I don't know if you ever saw that one, Hitsville. It's incredible. It's on Paramount Plus, I think. But what made it so great was it had archival footage of everything, including the Jackson 5 audition. They had that in the Hitsville documentary. But the Mel Brooks one was incredible. And they talk a lot about him walking the line in terms of comedy, in terms of being kind of subversive, particularly with Blazing Saddles. They asked whether it could be made today. It's like, I don't even think it could be made back then. It's just because Mel Brooks was a genius, and Mel Brooks had a writer's room that had obviously Richard Pryor in there. And Richard Pryor was the one that was pushing for some of the language because he said, Mel, people don't know. And you have the opportunity to let mainstream America know, hey, yeah, people are saying the N-word left and right. Like these kind of racist things that are being said in the movie for fun and for laughs are also kind of a reflection of what society is. And so, Dan, I think you'd really enjoy it. It's an incredible 2-part documentary, and I had a lot of fun. And my dad was a huge Mel Brooks fan.
I love the book. The book is exhaustive. It's a thick book, but he tells the story, among others, of watching Sid Caesar on the original television. Like that Mel Brooks is so old that he was there for the advent of the first television.
Sid Caesar told him, I got you a job. We're working in this thing called television. Like, he literally had to introduce the concept of TV to him in order to tell him, hey, come work with me. Also, did not know this, Mel Brooks, World War II veteran. So when he does Springtime for Hitler and the producers, when he does all these kind of jokes about Nazis or whatever, there was, at the time, people who were very outraged and say, even though Mel Brooks is very outspoken and proud of his Jewish heritage, it's a bad look to be making these kind of jokes. And it's like, the dude was literally like going through minefields to make sure that these German mines weren't just going off and killing Allied soldiers. So I think once you've hit that level of like, yeah, I'm about this life, you can joke about whatever you want.
We'll get to basketball stuff with Amin in a second, but Zazzle, what did I see you so excitedly sending to the video department here a second ago while Amin was doing his weekend observation?
Well, I think Greg Cody's going to be in studio tomorrow, right? He's here on Tuesdays. Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like he's going to have something to say to you, all right? Because on the latest episode of the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody, they put out like a quick teaser on Twitter. Give this a listen.
I know Le Batard very well. I know when he's serious.
We're having two
and when he's not. I know when he's serious and when he's not. He was serious. Well, you.
What's that about?
I don't know.
Dan?
I don't have any idea what he's upset about. Can anyone give me any context
Could
for
be
that?
anything.
It really could be, couldn't it? Like
The LSU picture.
It could be anything. Mike Ryan has seen how unreasonably mad Greg Cody gets about some things. We cannot predict when and why he gets mad about things. I legitimately have no idea what that's about. I was headed Saturday to the library to go and see what he and Ron McGill were doing, and then I got sick and couldn't get over there to support.
Maybe that's what it's about.
But I don't have
the library of the bar or the library.
No, he was doing something with Ron McGill for their new book as he continues to grift off of Ron McGill.
At the library of the bar or at the library of the library?
I actually saw a picture of this. I took the Metro Rail today, and there's a picture in the elevator of the poster. There was one that I thought I saw devil horns and somebody drew on Greg Cody. I have to go double check in one of the elevators.
Does no one know what he's mad at me about? Can someone ask his son? Does anyone know the whereabouts of his son? Can someone get me some information? Because no one's told me anything. I guess we'll find out together tomorrow when he gets here.
There's some good teases, though, that he put out apparently for this new episode of the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. He took a horse racing quiz with Clark Spencer. All right, there's that. He also auditioned for Mike Biamonte's job as new PA of the Miami Heat. He obviously, he had words for you. You just played it right there. And apparently, Greg was asked if his opinion of me has evolved after working with me now. Very interesting.
Okay. Not surprised that Zaslow would find himself interesting. So, can you please tell us what you make of the Giannis situation in Milwaukee? And do you believe that Doc Rivers is among the – not do you believe, do you agree? Because I know you don't agree. Can you believe that Doc Rivers is among the top 15 coaches of all time in anybody's list of the top 15 coaches, including Doc's?
Look, the Giannis stuff is incredible because he's been giving these quotes all season long, just left and right. And, me and George Sedano years ago came up with this line describing LeBron. They said LeBron doesn't leave breadcrumbs. He leaves whole loaves of bread, in the sense because he's passive-aggressive but not good. Like, he's just so obvious and blunt with it. Giannis is leaving bakeries behind. He had a game where he said his teammates were selfish and said, in the past I've had teammates who understood the gravity that I bring to the game, but apparently that's not the case anymore. He had the quote about how his agent is his own man. He said, I'm not responsible for anything he says. He's his own man, but he works for me. It's like, what does that mean? And then the latest one, which is he gets hurt. He pulls that calf, which has been bothering him. And after the game, And I talked to Jim Ozarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He says, this guy never talks about injuries. He comes after the game and says, I pulled my calf. We're going to do an MRI. When we do the MRI, they're going to show that my Solonius or whatever has been pulled, and it's going to take about 4 to 6 weeks of recovery. But during that time, if the team can stay within striking, he's like giving us a whole prognosis. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? I think this is Giannis's coy way of like saying, hey, this isn't my fault, everything that's happening, but he still doesn't want to do the thing, which I think all of us think you just come out and do it and say, hey, man, thanks for the memories. I want to get traded.
Does the injury now, 4 to 6 weeks, calf injury, we know that's the bugaboo term now in the NBA is a calf injury. Does this affect his potential trade market in February?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Anyone who's in the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo is in the market for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They don't care about him missing the next 4 to 6 weeks. They are there for it, and whether that's the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, any of the Toronto Raptors, or another one that's been listed, like they're ready to go. What's holding it all up is Milwaukee apparently is still saying, we don't know, or let's see if we can make a deal here around the periphery. Maybe we could turn Kyle Kuzma into something. And they're still playing this game of chicken where they're like, we don't want to trade him. And Giannis is like, I don't want to ask to get traded. So we're just going to pretend that this thing is going to work somehow.
I have not looked recently. They were 18-25, and then they lost against Denver at home. That doesn't even have Jokic. They're truly terrible. And I know that Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner is not good roster construction. But if I told you before the season, if I put Giannis on any team in the sport, am I going to have more than 18 victories at this point in the season? Wouldn't you have said yes?
If you said they had 18 victories, the first thing I'd ask is like, well, is Giannis healthy? And he hasn't been healthy, right? He has missed games. I think he's only played 30 games this year, and then many of those games have occurred with a minutes restriction. So, like, those two things do inform a little better why the record is as bad as it is, but it's still worse than what we would believe even under those circumstances. But Dan, do you remember Charles Barkley in Philadelphia? Like, how could he be that great and that team be that bad? Man, it's a team sport. Doesn't matter how good a player is. At the end of the day, you have to have competent infrastructure, and that includes teammates, and that includes coaching, and that includes everything.
Teams are, like Miami are going to just put all their chips to the center of the table and say, here, take whatever you want in order to acquire Giannis. But he's going to be 32 this year. He's dealing with a calf injury now. He's been kind of injury riddled. Like, should any teams kind of be worried about that?
Yeah, he has a history of being durable. He's going through some stuff right now. It happens. Nobody's perfect. I mean, Jokic has been a durable guy, and now he's been out for a considerable amount of time with an injury. So I don't put him in the same class as, when we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Ja and Anthony Davis and those guys. Those guys have reached a point where it's like you think twice. With Giannis, like, you take that risk because, again, he has been durable, and when he's played, he's been just as stellar as he's always been.
Amin, good seeing you. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for pulling out the Doc Rivers earlier than ever. It's very hard.
You almost killed him, Dan.
Yeah, it's very hard to get out of bed and do the Doc Rivers. Thank you, sir.
Get out of bed? I have to take my kids to school. I've been out of bed for like 3 hours now.
Okay. I just thought maybe perhaps I would give you some credit for the fact that you did something tough. Never mind. I take it back. See you later.
Well, he did do this, though.
Colin Kasser, the commercial kitchen and food truck veteran.
Not because he was tired. He was ready to go. He took his kids to
Been awake
school.
for hours.
And, been awake for hours. Totally rip-roaring. Thank you, Amin. Good talking to you.
That's not fatigue. I'm not going to blame it on fatigue. I just misspoke. It happens.
Yes, it
What's
does.
your excuse, Le Batard?
I'm speaking 4 hours a day, not 15 minutes. See you later.
I speak 4 hours a day, too. You didn't hear how many podcasts I plugged in that day?
What's Zaz's excuse?
So I mentioned that the Patriots were 80-1 odds before the season started, and then they lost to the Raiders at home. I think they were pointing out during the game yesterday, they were saying, do you realize that this game is in Denver because the Patriots lost to the Raiders at home? Tony has been wondering if the Patriots are going to be the first team to win the Super Bowl without beating anybody.
Without beating anybody. I'm telling you, if we look at Sam Darnold, and I don't think it's going to happen, but there's an outside chance. What if Sam Darnold just completely implodes under the lights, and then all of a sudden the Patriots go from a dumpster fire team? And I saw this stat, by the way, on Twitter. I don't remember who it was, but I want to give them credit, but I can't. So since December 21st, the Patriots have won more games than the Tennessee Titans have since they fired Mike Vrabel. Again, that's off rip. I don't remember who it was. Thank you for that stat. But the Patriots might just go the entire season with beating up on everybody and anybody and then do it in the Super Bowl
Why don't
again.
you just take credit for that stat? Who cares?
Because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a
Whatever,
sucker like
man.
you.
Take
It was
credit for
Jamie
it.
Eisner.
Who cares?
Thank you, Jamie
We
Eisner.
should give credit. Thank you, Tony,
know
for
that fool.
trying.
The credit was I read it basically perfectly after seeing it for 1 second.
No, he did. It's pretty perfect.
Thank you for trying the least possible amount to credit someone, which is more than Zaslow gave.
Would you rather?
You're just gonna leave, okay?
That's the
All right.
defeat right
so
there.
wait
boy.
a minute. He's
It's tough.
He's self-reporting. Okay, very good. So he's just
That's right.
He's,
Waltz your ass on over there.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for leaking confidence.
Head on over to that sucker room.
Boy, Zaslow taunting you for misspeaking when Zaslow's had the last
What an
10
embarrassment.
days. The last 10 days that he has had. Roy, get for me, please, the assortment of library sound that we have of Zaslow
That's
just
right.
screwing things up over the last
This
10
guy's calling
days.
you a sucker, Tony. Get a load of this.
I don't think it is fair to think after that particular game, being less than 24 hours removed from that particular game, to say that Sam Darnold is again going to turn into a pumpkin. Like, you can't, at this point, correct? You can't question that Sam Darnold is not afraid of big moments when the only team that intercepts him and causes him problems. Chris Shula is the defensive coordinator that has given Sam Darnold the most problems. To see Sam Darnold outplay Matthew Stafford when Matthew Stafford has an all-time game and Matthew Stafford has a game that a quarterback never has and loses, I don't think it's fair anymore after that game. Never mind 24 hours. I don't think it's fair anymore to question whether Sam Darnold can play in big games.
Unless he totally throws up all over himself in the Super Bowl.
I mean, but what then how would you explain what just happened? If
No, but if he goes from playing well, playing really, really well, which is what he just did, to throwing up all over himself in the Super Bowl, that has to be considered a choke then.
What do you think makes Jets fans angrier? The Patriots in the Super Bowl or Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl when he was their top 5 pick? He was the starting point on a traveling path through 4 other teams, and the Jets thought they had a quarterback. They had hope when Sam Darnold came in and looked the part, and it speaks to what Mike Ryan is saying about losing organizations are going to take everyone down with them.
I think the Jets fan is more mad at the Patriots being in the Super Bowl because I feel like the Jet fan is self-aware, actually. Is self-aware enough to know we're the organization, so of course we couldn't make it work with this really good quarterback. I think they're more angry that the Patriots are back.
Well, especially because I think there were people that thought the Jets would be better than the Patriots this year. Like, people were looking at that Patriots roster and saying, like, oh, they're not going to be very good. Who are their receivers? Like, yeah, sure, they brought in Diggs, but what are you going to do? The Jets being as abysmal as they are still, like, as a Dolphins fan, watching the Patriots continue to do what they do is more frustrating. And if Darnold had left the Jets and immediately gone to the Super Bowl with the next team, maybe we're having a different conversation. But with so many stops in between, you could be a Panthers fan, you could be a Niners fan, you could be a Vikings fan. You're also frustrated by Darnold.
Yeah, Jets, I think, are off the hook because of all the teams that you mentioned there. If anything, you turn your attention to Minnesota and being like, yeah, it's probably not the greatest goal.
What about Carolina?
But the thing is, Minnesota's the only franchise that had Sam Darnold consistently be good for them. Like, they saw it.
They were
play
14-3.
They were really good last season, and they made the decision to go with the rookie. And of all the franchises that Sam Darnold has left in his wake, Minnesota's really the only one that said, yeah, we saw this guy deliver.
100%, because then you look at what they have in J.J. McCarthy, and it's like, who would you rather have?
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 I did that on purpose.
You did?
No,
Yeah.
you
You didn't, Elmer
not.
Fudd. It's
No,
okay.
of course I did.
No, you didn't. No,
That's the joke. I gotta explain the show.
Try to
Now you're gonna
explain
kick me out
comedy
for
to
explaining
us.
the show?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Don't
kick me
do
out,
that.
Dan?
Hey,
I'm not
sometimes you
gonna
can
kick
say
you
that
out.
ball went off me, Coach.
No, it was the part of the joke because I said
Yeah.
I said whether the first time like an absolute idiot.
All right, so how do you feel about being criticized for your speech by this guy?
You should know.
That guy's a fool.
That's
Can't
not so
speak.
bad.
That's not even one of the ones that we had from the library last week. How do you feel about being criticized for your speech by this guy?
I mean, how could you not do it? Who didn't see that coming?
I mean, that's fine. Let's play on. That's Zaz being Zaz. That's him starting to cook.
Roy, how have you not found the 3 from last week that we have been playing as we've been filibustering for a good 3 minutes trying to allow you to find these 3 sounds from last week?
Well, there's no photo for these things. They're not labeled, and I'm just creating excuses right now.
So you don't have it? You still don't have it? You're
Still don't
still
have it.
looking for it?
I'm
You
still
still
looking for
can't
it.
They
find
were
it?
never saved in the J. Huh?
Search bear lose.
Bear lose. Yes, okay.
Search weapons. There's a litany of them that Zaslow can just
Maybe search.
cannot speak.
I just put the word Zaslow in there. You know,
Okay,
you would think that would be it.
Yeah, boy, this is bad.
Here, you want to pen
Top
right
to
that
bottom.
down?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I don't worry. I already got your note.
Me?
Yeah,
I self-reported.
You, got a
You
note.
told me that if I self-reported, I was okay.
You got
The
a
Packers win or the Bears lose.
There you go.
There it is.
Was saved.
That guy thinks you speak like a sucker. The Packers win or the Bears lose.
Who are you a fool in front of there?
Diana Rossini. The Packers win or the Bears lose.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Who would you rather be, Tony or Zaz?
The Packers win or the Bears lose.
How about a 38-year-old coach, Mike McDonald, who is being, backpedaling the entire game with Matthew Stafford? I'm going to say it again. He had, at one point, 13 completions for 265 yards against the number 1 defense. Sounds like a big D to me. How do you feel about Mike McDonald? I think I should capitalize the D and make it even larger than you normally capitalize.
Double size it?
I think today, based on what I'm about to say, okay, Mike McDonald's name in graphics forevermore should have the D 7 times as large as all the other letters in his name, because he's sitting there with Stafford. 4th and goal and he says, you know what I'm going to throw at this guy who's played 17 years in the league and can't be fooled by anything? I'm going to have 70 linemen on the line, and then I'm only going to rush 2 of them, and I'm going to drop everyone into coverage. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to stand there, and he's going to tap his foot, and he's going to be like, I'm going to throw to Ferguson all time in the game, for the first time in the game, even though he's totally covered. Like, he's in the middle of the field. There's no one in the middle of the field. All it's just an amoeba defense of why do the defensive linemen have their back to me? They're all running.
Every receiver's double covered, and he's like, oh.
It was like walking into a dark kitchen at night that's filled with cockroaches, and you turn on the light, and then just everyone scatters in every direction. And Stafford's like, I got Puka over here, I've got Devontae Adams over here, I've got an assortment of tight ends not named Ferguson that I can throw to. Let me throw to a guy who's just totally covered in the middle of the end zone, no pass interference. I can't believe that that's the defense that he went with in that situation, and I can't believe that the Rams lost that game when they were driving that way at the end.
Again, great situationally, and on top of that, Matthew Stafford 0 for 7 on 3rd or 4th down. Like, that's playing great situational football as a defense.
0 for 7 while Darnold was doing what he was doing on not just 3rd and 4th down, but 3rd and long. Like that's the thing that Seattle kept doing to the Rams defense. And I don't think it's being talked about enough, just the calamitous decline of the Rams defense over the second half of the season. I've been surprised that you guys don't have more of a reaction to, over the last 9 games, the Rams allowed scoring on 40% of the plays. That's dreadful. It's why they were 5-3 down the stretch and why the Seahawks were 8-0 down the stretch. Do you give the Patriots any credit for being 9-0 in road games this season? Unbeaten.
Yeah.
They lost to the Raiders at home to open the season. They lost 20-10 and then won all of their road games.
So I've thrown out a few things on the show today. I wonder if this has ever happened. Has a team ever won the Super Bowl in a season where they lost to the team with the number 1 overall pick? Whoa.
Did you just surprise yourself with that while you were pointing around the phone?
I'm certain.
It's probably happened. You're throwing out, you're basically just saying, Google this for me. You haven't been the same since you threatened Berube.
I have a certain glow to me, right? Like, I mean, this is someone who's very confident.
Yeah, that was a good moment for you.
I know, right?
On today's show.
I'm projecting a lot of confidence here.
You've had a good show.
Craig Berube.
I'm not sure he meant to do that Elmer Fudd thing. Let's be honest.
I did.
No,
I absolutely did. That was
it's
the
okay
point.
if he didn't.
But no, I know, but I did. That was the whole point, because I said "wather" like an idiot, and then I was like, you know what would be funny again if I say it again?
Okay.
No one believes you.
Just one example, the Green Bay Packers that won the Super Bowl lost to the Carolina Panthers that year, who ultimately drafted Cam Newton.
You pointed with such conviction as if you were making a good point, and then redundantly pointed. Put it on the poll. Would you rather be considered unfunny or a liar? It took Roy a minute, but he has now located the 3 sounds from the prodigious Zaz library of mispronunciations. Let's go with sound number 1.
Shitty, you want to know how that? What were the kids doing?
One of the greatest of all time.
Shitty, you want to know?
That is just to play this again. This is Zaz's description of the movie Weapons.
Shitty, you want to know how that? What were the kids doing?
Give me another wonderful Zaz sound from the library of mispronunciations.
I don't think strange for me, but like,
oh boy.
The rare Mike Ryan pity instead of pouncing on you doesn't happen very often. And finally, we played the other one where he got all of the results wrong and had the Packers winning a game they lost and the Bears losing a game they won. Why would you pick the Nets?
Well, yeah, it was an inspired effort.
That is totally different, and it is from a different part of the library. Roy, I don't know where you've been the last few weeks. It's clearly not around the sound. Now play Tony's sound of him messing it up.
Would you rather? See, I knew that one. I was like, I gotta go.
It's not that bad though compared to some of these.
Compared to his, no, this is nothing.
But you quit early.
No,
though.
is it 2 seconds of you just giving?
No, I knew because the moment the wather came out, I was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
I felt Mike going like this.
Yeah, I was there.
I was just like,
I was right there. You'll get the note later.
Yeah, no, I've already written it down. So
got one for Roy.
So I've got a ton for Roy today. So
come on, man.
The UFC this weekend, couple of surprising results, but what's not surprising is that sport is more prone to the gambling issues, where Dana White had to this time, now that he's learned the lesson, had to pull a fight that had suspicious activity in it. And the reason I say this sport is more prone to gambling corruption, it's because it's not only an individual as opposed to a team that you have to buy in order to contaminate the result, but it's an individual in a sport that does not pay well. And so the athletes are more vulnerable to this kind of thing because Dana White famously does not pay these people well. And so your thoughts were what, Tony? You covered this weekend from Dead Flamingo. You covered a couple of surprises this weekend in the sport. There were a handful of upsets, betting upsets, but I am unsurprised to see that Dana White's got a problem on his hands when it comes to suspicious gambling results because of that combination I'm telling you about. You can get a vulnerable individual. You don't have to buy a team. College basketball, it can be pretty easy to infiltrate college sports in general before recently, now that we're actually paying athletes well. I think UFC more susceptible than tennis or anything else because of how poorly they pay the...
Months ago, we told you to keep an eye on college basketball. There have been like 5 things that have happened since then. The early aughts in college basketball, a toxic wasteland of that kind of stuff. But continue with the UFC conversation.
So Dan, we'll start with the fight that got pulled. Yeah, there was increasing pressure from sportsbooks and the gambling agencies that told the UFC, hey, something's going on here as far as the spread is concerned. So Dana learned from the last time, pulled the fight from the card, and that's part of, like what you said, when you're not paid, when you're seen as a professional athlete and not paid like a professional athlete, not unionized like a professional athlete, you have more incentive to maybe do things to get more scratch. When maybe if you're on a 25 win where you're going to make 50 grand. Yeah, but if I can make 100 doing something illegal but nobody knows about it, like it's more incentive for that. So yeah, Dana did the right thing. That's going to happen. I mean, I feel like that's the only thing you could do is pull, because if not, you might get somebody killed.
No, he learned the lesson. He learned the lesson from the last time. He's going to pull those fights every time now that he gets a call about suspicious activity.
Have to, right?
You have to learn this stuff as we go because it's still a relatively new sport, and the normalization of gambling is something that is also new.
I saw they're giving out a lot more money for bonuses.
Yeah,
is that
so
a good
bonuses
thing,
are up.
or
Yeah,
is
no,
that like
absolutely.
some phony baloney?
No, absolutely. Bonuses
It's in
are
part
up.
because of this, I would say. I mean, it's been a complaint for a long time. They are giving more bonuses, but the
$7.7 billion that they made from the Paramount deal, which is also nice. But from $50K up to $100K fight of the night bonus, and if you finish somebody without getting the fight of the night bonus, you make $25K also. So like that's a little bit more of an incentive there. But we'll go with the biggest upset of the night, which is Justin Gaethje beating Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett, a super huge fan favorite. People were wearing the wigs. They do the dance. He's a very personality-driven
He had never
fighter.
lost in UFC.
Hadn't lost in the UFC. Have been fighting a couple old guys in tomato cans on the way up. This was his true first test when it came to fighting somebody that has championship caliber, like we've seen Justin Gaethje wear the interim gold in lightweight division before. But Justin, at 37, 38 years old, absolutely battered and beat down Paddy Pimblett. But again, Scousers don't get knocked out, Dan. There was a couple times where Justin had him dead to rights with elbows, with hammers, with fists, and Paddy just kept coming
more
up.
of a chin than I thought. Went immediately to
Way
the hospital
more.
afterward, and Gaethje's like,
I'm good.
I've been in a ton of these. I don't
I'm
need to go to
good.
the hospital.
I'm good.
Dan, did you see during the weigh-ins the day before this guy Smotherman, where he weighed in and they cut weight and they're crazy the way that they do this. It can't be healthy. And
It's not.
Did you see this where he passed out? But the part that really stands out is the commentators who are talking over it, specifically Michael Bisping. Watch this. Give us a listen.
Is a dog, but he's been on the wrong side of a couple of decisions.
135.5 for Cameron.
Oh no! Oh no,
shit.
bro! Oh no!
Oh my God!
Oh gosh! What happened?
Oh
He
no!
fainted. Oh, that's not good.
Okay, right before that, I'm sorry, I should have set it up better maybe. Right before that, Michael Bisping literally says, because they see that he looks like not well.
Frail.
And Michael Bisping is saying, I don't feel bad for any of these guys. You only have one job, that's to cut weight, and then, dude, face plants.
For the audio audience, what you just saw is a guy during the portion of the telecast where you're doing the weigh-ins, you're standing in front of people wearing only your shorts, you're shirtless. He looks a bit sedated and not totally there. And then as he walks off the stage to just leave after making weight, literally falls right on his face because of how unhealthy it is to cut that amount of weight in a short period of time. If you're not familiar with how they do this in terms of just like wrapping yourself in saran wrap and then jumping rope in a sauna while not drinking water, for
chewing ice in towels.
No, but not even being able to chew ice because you can't have you're trying to lose water weight.
Right, but apparently they chew it in the towels because apparently it tricks your brain into thinking that you're drinking water. So by chewing it through the ice, you're not actually getting any of the water.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's the worst thing in professional sports when it comes to any sort of training or any sort of getting ready for either a game, a match, whatever it is that you're going to do. Nothing is worse than cutting weight. And a lot of these guys, Alex Pereira famously, who walks around at 235 pounds, would have to cut down to $185.
But why do they do this? I mean, isn't it like cheating? Because they all cut the weight, and then they put like 25 pounds on.
Yeah, but it's about getting down to the weight.
So that you can be strong enough in the octagon to fight at 205 or a higher weight. 20 pounds heavier is an advantage.
Right, he's saying, why do they allow
Yeah,
it?
why
Shouldn't they
cut
be
the
that,
weight?
They should be at that weight for the fight.
Right.
That's more conversation of like there should be more weight classes so people don't have to drop as much, right? Because Alex dropping from 235, now he's at 205 champ. From dropping from 235 to $185, you're talking about 40 pounds, 50 pounds. It's like it's a lot of weight.
Zaslo's not wrong, sort of wondering ethically, why does the violent sport not do more things in order to have people be healthier?
Why is
Those
it so violent?
crazy
Why
people
is it so
doing crazy, unhealthy things,
By the way,
fighting
UFC,
others for money.
UFC 325 live from the Dead Flamingo. Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez 2 underway.
What'd you think of the Paramount debut?
I thought it was good. I thought it was clean. Obviously, watching it from my perspective, like doing the show, I didn't really notice as much of the commercials. People were saying there's a lot of ads, a lot of commercials. Dana White came out and said, hey, it's $19 a month. Like, you're going to get commercials. They got to get their money, too.
Complaining about
it is what it is. But from the perspective of the show itself, production was amazing, but that's a UFC
That's
thing.
UFC producing, not
They
Paramount.
are
Paramount
incredible.
badly needs young men, and that is why they got into that investment, because it's all Murder, She Wrote and Matlock and a bunch
But now it's
of
Taylor Sheridan shows, Dan. You got 19 Taylor Sheridan shows in UFC. They got me, baby.
They have to get young men. Jeremy, update the polls, please, for us at Le Batard Show.
First poll. Did you know Mike McDonald spelled his name with a lowercase d? 80.8% of the audience said no.
Small d.
Can you name 5 good football movies? 53% of the audience says no. If you were watching football for the first time yesterday, would you think that those 4 teams were playing the same sport? 79.7% of the audience says no.
Dan, the NFL news, it never stops. Breaking as of 7 minutes ago, the Chargers have officially hired former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel as their new OC.
Capital D.
Is the program a good movie? 60.7% of the audience says yes. Does Jerry Maguire count as a football movie? 62.4% of the audience says yes. Is the original Longest Yard the best football movie ever? Dan, unfortunately, 75.7% of the audience says no. Did you enjoy watching the Broncos-Patriots game? 66.3% say no. Is Any Given Sunday a good movie? 63.1% of the audience says yes. Does propositioning a sex worker before the Super Bowl take you out of the running for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award? 74.2% of the audience says yes. If you want to be a champion, can you see your family? Do you think your family? 78.2% of the audience says no. And best movie, Friday Night Lights, Jerry Maguire, Remember the Titans, or the original Longest Yard. 50% of the audience says Remember the Titans. And those are your polls.
Hialeah.